Them kids, bro.
God, not as hard as I did. Welcome to the Devil's Work podcast. Not in the way you might be thinking.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
hope not. Shit.
Hello, I am the famous hater of child actors, skeptic, and I am joined by the famous nonchalanter towards child actors,
Yeah, that's true.
sideshow with a
Was
P.
I could I could take it or leave it, but this one, oh man, we are gonna talk about some fucking acting, dog.
This is yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you're right.
I was like,
You're right.
we
You're
are.
right. I will grant you that one. And that betrays my tone for this episode. This is the Devil's Work podcast
Hey,
where we verbally spar and sometimes
for police.
verbally canoodle over the
Yep.
most fucked up and sometimes most recent horror movies in the world. And today we're going kind of dipping into both categories, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, I
It's
think so.
hard to know when you just go see something like how crazy it's gonna be, you know?
Yeah,
But this got pretty gnarly. We're talking
yeah.
about the brand new 2025 film by the Philippou,
Filippo. Yeah.
Philippou, okay. The Philippou brothers,
Yep. The Rocka Boys.
Danny and Michael, the creators of Talk to Me, the movie about the hand.
it's,
I should have said
it's hand stuff, the movie.
I should have said talk to the hand.
Yeah, no, we're doing Bring Her Back, man. This is a quickie. This is a little bit outside of what we usually, we usually do full format episodes. Quickies are set aside for more, like we said, just newer movies, contemporary films that are out in theaters. Just kind of giving you, this is our jazz episode. This is a little free form.
I'll tell you one thing. This is not a cult.
I love that opening.
That shit was
So funny.
so funny because literally I turned to Amanda and I was like, "This is like Wounded Man runs into a cabin films." You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
exactly. Yep. Yeah,
The
exactly.
Family
Yeah.
Guy joke.
That's so funny.
I was like, "Holy shit! The prophecy is true. Like, what the fuck is happening here?"
Yeah, dude. Okay. And it's right off the bat. I just want to, so that this informs the conversation going forward. You have not seen Talk to Me, correct?
I have not. I'm a bad man.
No, we are wait. That's fine because you have been waiting. You told me that until we do an episode on it, which we
Yes. So it's
absolutely
kind of on you.
exactly.
Kind of on you.
So we are going to be doing a full Talk to Me episode at one point eventually. Who knows? We might even be doing a full one on this one. And to be honest, we've talked about that with like Sinners going back and like doing a full episode, which someone already asked for. So that's cool.
Yeah. It's nice to be asked things of.
Exactly.
Ask
So
away.
yeah, this is the man. And full disclosure, I saw this motherfucker 3 times. So
And
I
I
am
and I just
very
saw it
well
last
versed.
night. Just saw it
Yeah,
last night for $6.
for six.
Gotta
So
love
funny,
AMC.
dude.
When they played, I don't know if you got this, but we got a Megan. Everybody in the
Oh
theater needs to be
God, dude.
quiet. I'm gonna kill you. I'm so sassy and funny. Hee hee hee.
I'm all
Like,
right, man. I'm good.
and I was like,
I'm real good on those movies.
oh Christ, are we gonna get 5 years of this? Is this replacing Nicole? And then like 5 minutes later, they played the Nicole one, and I was like, I gotta sit through both of these. Movie didn't
Are
start
they
for like
replacing?
fucking
Yep.
50 minutes.
No,
Jesus.
yeah, I know, and I'm real good. Wait, we'll get to Megan. I'm sure at some point, way down the line,
I just can't believe
or not.
of all films to like be that,
Yeah, to like open up for that. It's
you
so
know,
funny.
to just be like the attached in front of so many other movies. It was weird. It was strange.
Yeah,
Why does that
yeah.
movie exist? A-
So
Anyway,
anyway,
talk to the foster mom.
so talk to the her back. It's
Yeah,
yeah, man. I'm very excited for this conversation. I went into it. I was actually able to see this 2 weeks before it dropped. It was very fucking cool. The local theaters do that local mystery movie Monday thing. The you like $5 or whatever ticket. They're discounted tickets, and you just go in and you see a random movie, and they
Mm,
don't give you anything but the rating of it and like the runtime. And
okay,
so
you need that much.
yeah, and it helped that this one was labeled horror mystery movie Monday. I was like, oh, okay, like
Mm,
there's a lot of good horror movies coming out this year. And so I was like, it's bound to be a pretty good one. Chances are it's gonna be decent. And yeah, as soon as the brothers came up on screen, right before the movie started, they're like, "Surprise, we're the movie." I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I was like,
damn.
yeah, I was screaming in the theater, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I was just like, because we had just walked past the poster, and I was like, "Dude, I'm dying to see. I'm so excited to record that episode." And then it just happened. I was like, "Hell yeah!" So
Damn.
I was able to sit on this one for like 2 weeks, and then yeah, I saw it back to back opening weekend, and oh my god, oh man, I haven't screamed like that in the theater in a minute, dog. It's
It
been a minute.
did get very uncomfortable several
Hell
times.
yeah, dude, that was fucking crazy. We're gonna go into it, but the human jerky scene fucked me
Yeah,
up.
that's exactly what I turned to Amanda and
That's
said.
that's the one that
Exactly,
fucked me up the
exactly what I
most, dude.
said. Oh God.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's their follow-up to Talk to Me, which is one of I mean my current favorites, modern favorite, absolute favorites cuz they did and I'll go into this a little bit more in the episode, but these guys are using possession as a crazy creative vehicle to tell stories. Like this one has got to be one of the most unique possession films I've ever seen. And then going right back to Talk to Me, the same thing as well. One of the most unique possession films I've ever seen because it's very creatively handled, and it's not just like the demon isn't the main focus of the movie. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like the demon isn't like the possession is barely even the focus at all. It really is the characters surrounding and the
yeah.
circumstances and everything. So like they're using these tropes or whatever as a really or in a really creative way, and I fucking am so excited to see what they do next because oh my god, Talk to Me was create. I'm not gonna give shit away because I do not want to spoil that movie for you.
Well,
But
I appreciate that, but if it's part of the larger conversation, like
yeah,
I know
sure.
some
But
things about
I'm
it,
I'm
so
just saying they used possession as a party drug in
mm-hmm,
Talk to Me, or it says as a vice, as a a stand in for a vice.
mm-hmm,
And in this, they used it as a weapon, as sort of like a way as imprisoning someone. Like that's a fucking very interesting way of presenting that like trope that we've seen before as a possession movies. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to think of like how I would phrase how I think it's used and bring her back. It's more like it's like weapon is in the right vein, but I feel like even to bring it make it even more vague but also more
Weaponized.
specific.
Yeah.
I feel like tool is like you
Yeah. Yeah.
like you're like I agree because a weapon's a tool.
Hmm.
I
Amen.
I think we're in the right vicinity, but I think
Hmm.
tool might be a little more because she doesn't mean to use it to hurt anybody. She means to use it to like achieve a goal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I agree with you. I think we mean the same thing, but I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Just
know,
saying it in different texts and different fonts.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do think it has a lot of originality, and there's a few ways we're about to get a cameo
No.
where
Hey.
I think there are some missteps in the writing and some ways where it didn't land for me, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of ways where it did. And for most of the runtime, I thought it was, very interesting and a great watch.
Yeah. 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 I'm very excited
She
to
literally walked out here and just like did a 180 and
Yeah.
went back.
She's like, just so you know who runs this bitch. Just so you
Yeah,
know. All right, let's go
literally.
back. So yeah, I'm excited to hear your, you know, problems with the movie because I really had very little problems the second time, and like the third time I watched this, it hit a lot harder, I will say.
I think part of it is that I literally just played Expedition 33 and it just came out and it has like literally the exact same themes.
Oh, okay,
The
interesting.
exact
That's funny.
same. It's
It's so
about
funny.
grief, it's about loss, it's
Yeah,
about what lengths will you go
yeah.
to hold on to someone after they're well and truly gone,
Hmm.
and how much of other people's pain and misery uh is okay if it gives you respite, even
Exactly.
even down to in both works saying, well, even if the person that I want to hold on to, even if his soul or her soul is damaged by my actions, at
Yeah.
least I get to hold on to them.
Exactly.
So they
Yeah.
both so it's interesting to have like these two companion art pieces that just came out around the same time,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you know, it's unfair. One's a 50-hour video game, and one's a 2-hour
Yeah,
movie. But it's
exactly.
like, man, I just saw this done like to the highest, most masterful level possible,
Hmm.
which is like an unfair thing to levy against this
I was
film.
gonna say maybe not the fairest thing, but it is a fair point to bring up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
completely
is. It
fair.
is just
Yeah.
kind of like, damn, I just had the best fucking burger ever, and now I'm gonna have like a really fucking smacking like Five Guys, and the fucking chef is like on one tonight. You know, like I'm not calling bring her back McDonald's. I would not do that. That is fucked up. That is not. But it's just like, man. I just had steak last night, and now
Oh my
now
god,
you know we're
that's
having
so
burgers.
funny. It is gourmet though. It is gourmet.
It's
God
a
damn it.
good burger. It came out on the
God damn.
cloche, but
So funny, dude. So
but that's how you know it's fancy.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's just kind of funny to me
Oh
that those.
man.
So I think probably a good amount of people experienced both of those. Like Austin did as well.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you know, shout out to our fallen brother.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we like I think when we go, but that's the thing. So I think having the appreciation for what they did in Talk to Me helped inform my opinion on a lot of this movie because I see a lot of people are being like, this one's better than Talk to Me. This one's better. This one's on a, this one's more character driven, stuff like that. And I do agree. I did like this one a little bit better than Talk to Me right now as it stands.
yeah, I mean
Doesn't mean I dislike Talk to Me at all.
You want
You know
you
what I
want
mean?
every album to be better than the last. You want every movie,
Hmm.
so
And in my opinion, they are very much two for two. They are very much fucking two for two, and I cannot fucking wait to see what they do next. But they're doing a documentary next, which I'm very excited about. It's about death matches in Australia, which like basically UFC with weapons, but they actually like fuck each other up, and people have
that's
actually
crazy.
died doing it. Yeah, it's wild.
Damn, that's
And
very
Michael was in it, like he's competing in a match in it. I'm like, what the fuck?
that's
Very
crazy.
excited to see that movie, dude.
Damn.
But yeah, I think that their particular skill set and like their point of view and like the way that they execute this as opposed to Talk to Me, I think they're growing as filmmakers. They're really like learning how to like really hone in certain things. I mean, again, not even to say that there was anything really wrong. I'm just saying you will have different opinions, I'm sure, but Talk to Me was a perfect movie in my opinion.
Hmm.
Not. I know that, but to me it is because it hit all the notes that I wanted and it was like very interestingly handled, you know what I mean, in its own right. So, I think having the opinion of that movie helped really inform mine of this one, but I will say this is just it's a bleaker movie.
Mm.
This is a
Yeah.
way bleaker movie
It
than the other
it
one.
it gets really bleak, and I'm holding off because I don't want to talk about I don't want to like get the put the cart in front of the
Yeah, yeah,
horse,
yeah.
you know.
We'll
I
we'll
want I
we'll
want to
definitely
kind
get to it, yeah.
I want to kind of start at the beginning here. And
Yeah.
we'll definitely talk about it, and I am conflicted about it, you know, but it's
Mhm.
like
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucked up, man. There's a real bummer of
Yeah,
a movie.
yeah. My solution to my problems with the movie, funny enough, is like actually make it a little less bleak, but it's not because I think the movie's less bleak. It's because there's a couple parts in the writing where I'm like, oh
Okay,
man, I
I get.
think
Okay, now I'm in really interesting to
I
hear
think
this.
they should have done a little different thing. So I think we've cleared the non-spoiler talk.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh, hold on.
Very. Go ahead.
The uh the performances from Sally Hawkins,
Yes,
from
dude.
Sora
Oh my
Wong,
God.
and from
Yes, Sora was
Jonah
the
Wren
shit.
Phillips.
Yes.
So that's the foster mother Laura,
Yep.
the sister Piper,
Piper and Ollie
and then Ollie. Yeah.
or Oliver,
And
if you nasty.
I mean Billy Barrett as Andy, the brother, was
He
also
was
really
good.
good.
He was really good. I
But
really liked him.
those three were like
Oh yeah,
he did really good, and
100%.
all went crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonah
Yeah, yeah.
especially.
100 fucking percent, dude. Like that kid stole the show. The one scene, because I don't know if we'll get to it. Like I'll probably miss it in the discussion. But the one scene where she's like cleaning him in the bathtub, and then he fucking looks over at her. Oh, I got chills. I was like, "Ooh, that's good, dude. It's real good. That fucker has a real bright future ahead of him."
It's yeah, he's a little weirdo. He's gonna
Yeah.
grow up to be God, I forget his name is Doug something. The guy who plays like Abe in Hellboy and the
Oh
fish that they
yeah.
fuck in Shape of
Yeah,
Water.
yeah.
He's gonna
Yeah,
grow up to be
exactly.
that guy.
Well, he's like a little nepo baby, apparently. I think both of his parents are actors. That's what they said. Like in
Mm.
the interviews that I was listening to, I was like, "Oh no, shit, that's cool." Well, it's cool that he has that kind of training. He's fucking so young, crazy young. But apparently, he's like multi-talented too. Like, so I'm very excited to see what his career becomes. This is gonna be an interesting one to watch him because he's gonna burn bright fast. So
He's gonna burn out young, is what you're saying.
I hope not. I hope
You're
not.
like he ain't gonna last long at
No,
all. That
he's
little fucker.
yeah, he's good. No, I think he's gonna be doing the way that the brothers talk about him. They're just like, dude, he's crazy, crazy focused on like doing this and like doing it for. Obviously, you can see his chops in this movie are really good with 3 lines of dialogue and the entire fucking script for him. Yeah, it's crazy, man. He's gonna do great, man. But I'm very excited to see it. But yeah, Sally Hawkins, man, Jesus. Oh my God, stole the fucking show, man. Incredible. She's so good in this. They were talking about like they were so surprised that they even got a response from her and that she even wanted to do it in the first place. Because they're like, you're like a prestigious ass actor. What are you talking about? And I think this is her first genre movie too. She's never done a horror movie.
Damn,
Yeah.
it's interesting. We're
Yeah.
talking about Sally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the closest thing I can think of to her character in this is fucking Kathy Bates in Misery.
That's so funny you even said that. They even like so they were shooting at one point. This is a story they were telling, and they did the pool scene where they introduce Ollie, and he had like a wig on and teeth and stuff like that. And they were like, we're getting too close to Misery right now. Like there's something there. So they saw where the references were like kind of gonna be too on the nose, and they
Mm.
pulled away from that, which I really actually love. I love that they did that purposely.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like Evil Dead and Misery combined.
That's a
Is
good one. Yeah,
kind of what
yeah,
it ends up being. I was
yeah.
telling Amanda afterwards, I was like, childhood is the ultimate trap in terms of like a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like me and you as adult characters in a film
Yeah.
can like go into a building, and now like that building is scary, but like once we get out, we're safe. But like
I understand what you're saying.
when it's like your mom or your dad or your neighbor or your teacher, and it's like often as a child, it's that no one listens to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of realizing as I'm saying this that in this movie, it was kind of flipped because it wasn't no one will listen to you. It was an adult is actively lying about you.
Stifling your
And
fucking your voice.
yeah, it's like it's really fucked up everything that
Yeah,
she does.
yeah, yeah,
And
dude. Well, that's it's so interesting too because they talk about how she approached the character as someone who was a broken mother, not as a horror villain, but yet she's clearly the villain of the piece.
yeah, that's the thing is I've seen a lot of people online like express sympathy for her, and I'm just like I didn't feel
It's
that.
hard. It's hard to
I didn't
yeah.
feel it whatsoever, and I feel like deriving sympathy from her makes you an insane person.
Well, they
Like
talked about it. They wanted the audience to be uncomfortably empathetic was the words that they used.
I just feel like there's nothing to empathize
Like
with.
redeemable. Well, I mean, she lost her daughter.
I don't
It's
I don't fucking care. That
you're a
doesn't make
monster.
that doesn't make 1 inch of it okay or
No, no, no. Yeah,
redeem,
exactly.
you
It
know?
doesn't justify the me. Yeah, for sure. Like, absolutely know that.
Yeah,
I know that.
it just makes her whole cloth unsympathetic to me.
Hmm.
And also some of the things she says, like she masterminded this situation a lot more than I think most people realize.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Well, yeah. They. That's the thing, though. That's what makes her such a compelling villain. Is that because she's so well equipped with things that should make her a good person. You know what I mean? Like she talks about it. She says, I'm a counselor. Like people come and pay to talk to me. And like she has the tools to be able to teach people how to like deal with grief and, move forward and stuff like that. But again, she almost like weaponizes those tools in this exact scenario. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Against him, which I think
yeah.
that makes for such a compelling villain. I think
Yeah,
that's such an interesting.
and I do think she's a good villain.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
just don't see any good
Redeemable
or
quality about her
sympathy.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of yeah, like she's not a Magneto where I'm like, "Oh, you bastard, you got genocided and now you're doing a genocide." Like, don't you
Yeah.
see the
Yeah.
irony?
Yeah, yeah, and
And
yeah, I agree with that.
I went after that comment.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Eh, eh,
But it's more of a Thanos like you're in love with death, so you're gonna kill. You're a dick, you know. Like
yeah.
that's kind of
Well, I
what.
think it's interesting. Well,
And
well, okay, let's go. Let's get into the
and
spoilers.
that's still a good villain.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just don't go, oh man, I feel bad for Thanos and Laura.
Exactly.
You
There's
know?
nothing. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing keeping you emotionally tied to them being like you want to see them win or get turned, turn around.
Yeah, they're compelling. I just
Hmm.
don't derive it like see anything sympathetic, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it because I agree. This is you have to kind of spoil the shit out of this movie to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So please go watch this. It is. I cannot tell you. I have not screamed this fucking hard in the theater. Like I was clenching my fucking what little bit of my hair that I had. Like I was looking away at a lot of points. It had me feeling every spectrum of emotions. It was fucking incredible. I liked it. I mean, I loved it a lot. That's the spoiler for the ending. But I would say, please go watch this in a theater. The sound alone was is worth it because it's fucked up that you can turn away, but you can't like cover your ears to stop hearing the noises.
You're gonna see some things you've never seen before.
Yeah. Oh man. Whoo, that ooh.
To quote the Megan 2.0 trailer, hold on to your vaginas.
So
You knew exactly what I was gonna
God damn it.
say.
So stupid.
God, it is. It's shit. What? We have the Terminator at home. Like, the fuck?
So fucking stupid.
Jeez.
Anyway, go watch this. We're gonna go fucking spoil this thing. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah. So
I wanted to bring it up. It's basically demonic face off. Because tell me I'm wrong.
Well, in terms of like that's where they're trying to get it to.
Yes, but come on, like
Yeah,
I think it stands.
it doesn't happen, but that's what they're it's like if Face Off was all about trying to do the surgery. Like it wasn't
Ex-
about what happens after the surgery.
That's so good. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Oh
Uh
man, that's so
so
funny.
so brother sister pair Andy and Piper their dad dies and they see his dick
You're
and it's true. What did I say that didn't
oh
happen?
God, Jesus Christ.
What did I say that didn't happen?
Well, okay, technically only Andy sees his dick
Oh,
because
well,
she's actually visibly impaired, and that's a good thing to bring up.
well,
I was gonna say bring up right now, if I may.
just
This was her
just
very
the fact that that's how it came up.
yeah, exactly. She is actually visually impaired, and they got
I
her. This is her
I
very first movie she's ever done.
it would be utterly insane if she wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With all the like random eye movement and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that would I
Yeah.
was like yeah that would be the most fucking like insensitive crazy for like
Oh yeah.
a sighted person to
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
you know, so
She's fucking amazing in this
I
movie.
was like yeah she has to be.
She is so good. Her first movie. Her first movie ever. She'd never acted before. I was like, what the fuck?
She's about 6 weeks old, so
Yeah. 6 weeks. Yes, she's very young. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like she's supposed to be maybe like 13 or 14, but
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah.
pretty
Around
young.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
oh, and they're step siblings as
mhm.
well. We should point out. So it's Andy's dad,
Yeah,
and the
that's
implication is her mom has passed long ago.
yeah, and that's very important to the relationship. Like
Hmm.
with the how it's so interesting. I was just talking about this, how the relationship with the father, there's layers to that, and that keeps getting peeled back as you're going forward. And there's like that being them being step siblings is actually a very big part of that, main core of
And
that
this all
relationship
came from
going forward.
talking about his dick.
Yes, it did.
It did. So back to Dad's dick. He's laying there on the floor, and
Oh
he
man.
died. He died. They walked into the bathroom because he's not answering. They unlock the door, come in, and he's laying there having hit his head and passed
I
away.
just thought about this right now. She hands him a butter knife to open the door, and then later on he opens up the door with another knife, the knife when it
Mm-hmm.
comes in. I didn't even consider that until right now. That's fucked up, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, because it's just like one of those shitty little house locks I have. I'm like looking at it on my
Yeah,
bathroom door
under
right
your bathroom
there.
door. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
just like a little slit that
Yeah.
you can just put a knife in and turn.
Hmm.
Um, and so
And
because
she
of
gives him
that,
CPR too. That was fucked up. You don't see that until later, but oh my god,
yeah,
it's rough, bro.
it's very sad, you know, especially
Yeah.
you know, having just lost my dad too, like seeing that and having to think about all that, like I was getting pretty emotional early in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And
Um,
that's the thing though. The movie, like, because grief is so it's inevitable for every single person, on earth. Like, you're just gonna, if you have any sort of, attachment or soul, like, you're gonna feel grief at some point the in your lifetime. But I like how in a lot of movies we always see grief is like the metaphor in here.
mhm,
Whereas, like, in this one, grief, like I said, is the weaponizing thing that she uses. She's using grief as like a
mhm.
tool, and like that method of carrying out her actions and stuff. And it's interesting how they handled that in this movie. I think
Yeah.
that was so very interesting because it makes that, again, they built first, it was built as a drama from what they said. The movie was built as a drama, so they had to make sure the characters and their relationships made sense within the world. Then they introduced the supernatural after the fact, and that makes so much sense.
You're making me wish that that's the movie that I saw. I was like, oh man, this would have played so much better as just a straight drama thriller. Like, oh, that would have been, I would have liked that a lot more.
I don't know, man. I like what the fuck we got. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so they get adopted by a foster mom, and it turns out she's a real wackadoo,
Oh yeah.
and she's got another kid, and it turns out I'll just spell it out because we're talking about spoilers here, and it'll
Hmm.
inform the rest of the conversation.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the movie, before this stuff happens,
Before
and
we
I
even see Piper.
and I think this was a mistake because it made me spend the next 45 minutes waiting for a whole different movie to happen.
Mm.
But it starts with these cult murders happening,
Hmm.
and there's someone filming everything, and they're speaking some sort of Russian Eastern European language,
Yeah.
and it's just like very confusing as to what's happening. And then it just cuts to, the rest of the beginning of the movie with them like finding him and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it's kind of was like, oh, did that like cause this? And then it was like, oh, okay, so this lady's going to be involved. All right, oh, it's happening in the shed. That's what's going on. That's what's going to happen here. They're going to like
Hmm.
stumble on that. And then it's going to be, and then like an hour later, I was just like, oh, fuck, we're still like dancing around here. Like.
Yeah, but I think that's again another thing that comes from the world building that they did in Talk to Me
I,
as well. Like that's what I mean because they kind of like there's hints at a bigger world that are happening,
I
but you don't ever get to see that answered in the movie directly.
I think we have like an opposite God, what's the space movie? I'm fucking
There's
blanking
you're
on it.
gonna have to be a
The
little
one
more.
the one with the satanic orgy that we only see glimpses of.
Oh, Event Horizon.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
My brain was failing me.
Hmm.
So yes, in Event Horizon, we
Hmm.
only see glimpses and pieces, right? But you want more. In this, I felt like I had the opposite effect where if we had just seen like after they moved in, her watching the tapes the way we do, the little glimpses here and there, I think that would have been a lot more compelling than like, okay, this lady definitely murders people. There's definitely something wrong with that
Hmm.
kid. Like it just I think it would have played a lot more mysteriously if it did that. Because even then, like
Yeah.
once we find out that basically the point of this ritual, and it's like extremely convoluted, is like you get one person to sacrifice in terms of you put a demon in them.
You mimic the death.
Well, 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 because you have Ollie, so you have someone
Hmm.
that you like
Hmm.
put the demon into.
Yeah, a vessel essentially going into, yeah.
So it seems like what you're doing is trading the demon like Ollie's body
Hmm.
for the service, which is that
He's
the
the waiting room.
well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's like,
So she says this thing about like, some people think the soul stays in the body for like months after they pass away,
yeah.
which just informs the whole ritual of you get two people to sacrifice, one that you're not killing, but you're putting a demon into, and it seems like what you're doing is giving the demon that person to just have.
Yeah.
And then the demon, while inside of that person, you take the corpse of the person you want to bring back,
Hmm.
and you have the demon eat that corpse,
Get the face ate.
which gets their soul.
They get faced off.
Yes, they do. They do get face offed, like in the movie Face Off. Um, and then they spit the soul back out into someone that you kill in the same manner that
Hmm.
your loved one died.
Hmm.
And then the soul goes into the new body, and I think from what we saw in the tape, it seemed like the body like magically transformed into the person.
No, I think that's just a new person. That's there. That's kind of just understood because there's no context to who was in the videos. There's literally no backstories. There's no
It
names, no nothing.
Yeah, it just looked like the lady who got hung, like her face changed between being hung and when she stands back up
I
to.
didn't even see her face. Because I just remember the demon face, like in the fucking the thing is it's like the most striking image.
Oh,
But
I didn't even see that. I just saw the movie yesterday, and I didn't I didn't I
I
didn't see the demon in the beginning
I
part.
think they had like a hood over her when they were hanging her.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. I was gonna say because it happens pretty quick. It's very like
There's just this
choppy
real
and quick.
there's just this realization on the part of the guy who's doing the ritual in the tape where
Mhm.
he just runs over to her and like starts holding her. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just
Because
kind of
again, I think that was he's the one who was in Laura's shoes essentially. He was the one who was
yeah. But I
trying to
just
make it
mean it
happen.
seemed like they don't talk. It just seems like he like recognizes that she's in there. So that
Hmm.
made me think there was like a magical element because
Well, it's
they also made the point of not showing the face of her daughter Kathy when we until like the very end. So I
oh, I
felt
thought that was interesting too. Someone, yeah, when I was watching with my friends, they were like, yeah, they didn't show it until later. I was like, oh, I thought they showed it earlier because they did show it in the birthday party videos and stuff like that. But sure, she's wearing
me
like stuff like obscure
oh
like glasses and stuff or
all
like masks and shit.
I gotta hold this comment for later. Uh, or I guess I'll let it rip now. Her daughter died by drowning. The little
Yeah.
idiot fucking swam in Halloween costumes and masks and shit. Like you didn't see this
She's
coming.
not, but she's not in that like in the end, like when she dives into the flashback.
She's not, but yeah, she's not playing with the full deck.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Anyway,
like I said, fuck them kids.
oh my
Uh,
God.
but yeah, so it seems like that's the deal. You put the demon in one body, they
Mm-hmm.
eat the body of your loved one. You kill someone in the same way your loved one dies. Demon spit soul into body. Demon gets a vessel, I guess. I mean, it just seems like that's what we're bartering in here.
Yeah, I was. They never really, and I was waiting to the last time. I was like, if did I miss it when what happens to the waiting room? Essentially, what happens to the one who was, you know
I,
what I mean? Like, because they
yeah,
literally never bring that up. That's literally just never discussed.
there's
So
a lot of things that aren't discussed in this
yeah,
movie.
so but I mean but again, I don't mind that because again, I've seen that, and then they've talked about it too in the interviews. They were like, all of the movies may not be in the same like or all of the movies are going to take place in the same universe essentially.
Hmm.
So they were like the characters might all live in the same neighborhood
Hmm.
in their movies. So I was like, that's actually interesting because again, when you do watch Talk to Me, there are elements of it that you could see where maybe he says Danny was talking to specifically. He says that there were characters from Talk to Me that were in Bring Her Back at one point, and vice versa. They were changing out certain people because they were in development at the same time.
Mm,
But this one just got made, you know, first essentially or after the fact.
yeah.
But yeah, I think the world building to me is exciting because getting the glimpses at the slice of life stuff, which is what I also bring up when we did the Crimes of the Future episode. I loved that aspect of it. I loved the fact that there were these big ideas being explored in very little time, and there
Hmm.
were just glimpses of the shit, and you're just like, well, what the fuck is going on outside? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, so I like that personally myself. I like the mystery it adds to the world. It widens the scope without actually
I
doing that
I
in the movie.
I agree, but I'm actually saying it should have been more mysterious. I think by starting with that, it
Mm-hmm.
was just like, oh, okay, like I was expecting it to turn
Into
into,
that movie.
oh fuck, this whole cult's after us and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, because you don't know what they're doing at first.
Literally no
You
idea.
just see murders happening.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand until about 40 minutes into the movie, at which point I went, oh yeah, bring her back. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's
And then when they
obviously.
said it, you're like, yeah, they said the thing.
Well, what about when he said, "I'll talk to you,
And yes, you.
so you talk
I
to
fucking
me"?
thought the same thing.
That was a real fucking Superman for the Quest for Peace, Like, God,
Oh, good too.
that was fucking ridiculous. I was just like, okay, guys, don't get too fucking high on your own supply.
Oh,
Like,
that was so funny, dude. But I don't know, it's a pretty
I
innocuous phrase too.
yeah, but it was
But
it was it was
I
so
know,
delicately placed.
I know. I'm just saying. It's
That
so funny though.
it was fucking. We're fantastic. Say that again.
So dumb.
Like that's exactly what it is. But I yeah,
Oh
I
my
just I
god.
just think some of the execution of the ideas here missed the mark. Like I don't think
Sure.
it's like terrible, but I think it has some missteps. I mean, I really enjoyed Ollie. I really enjoyed
Oh yeah.
um Sally Hawkins as Laura. Like
Yes.
I hated
Yeah.
her. I absolutely fucking hated her.
Oh yeah. She's so
Um
right off the bat. I love when they introduced her. You're just like immediately on guard. You're
She
just like,
just sucks from
oh,
the
I don't like
fucking
you.
like even knowing like the brief synopsis of the movie of
Mm-hmm.
these two kids are adopted and cult
Mm-hmm.
stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're just like, okay, obviously she's bad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's who she's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's no even like literally when
I
she
love
takes
the
the
little
picture and
jabs.
blocks
Yeah,
him.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. The blocking was so good.
Yeah, she's horrible. And like you
Uh,
said too, like she is actively weaponizing her grief counseling
mhm.
skills to make them as distressed as possible. And that's just
Exactly.
like that's super evil.
Yeah, I really liked it. And then in an interview I was listening to also today was it was interesting. They said that they worked with the production designer to have her kind of represent a dying leaf. So in the beginning of the movie, she's wearing a lot of like vibrant colors, like a lot of like purples. She's wearing like
Uh-huh.
oranges and stuff like that. And then more and more throughout the movie, she it whittles down to like grays and browns and stuff like that that she's actually
Interesting.
wearing. I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. I love shit like that. I love that type of continuity. It's so good. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was really cool to see.
that is super interesting. I
Hmm.
didn't realize that at all. But yeah, when she wore purple to the funeral
The
was really
funeral
obvious.
was crazy, dude.
So uh she killed their dad. You got that, right?
Okay, fucking explain this to me because I saw it 3 times. I heard her say the line in the movie and I didn't know if that's what she said. Okay, she literally says that. Okay, okay, please piece this one together. This was the one that I was like trying to connect.
Later, so for most of the movie, she is gaslighting and fucking with Andy because she like even to begin with, they're like, "Oh, she's only going to adopt the sister because she's had problems with boys before."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "No, it's fine." And they're like, "Well, you're a troubled youth. You got in trouble when you were a kid." And he's like, "Well, I was only 8 years old."
Yeah.
Also, weird that they know about that. It's weird that
The
they know it.
child services.
Yes, because what they're referring to is that he hit his sister in the face when
Mm-hmm.
he was 8. Bro, my sister tried to kill me when we were kids. I've punched her in the face multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows, no authorities
Authority
know
actually
that,
know that.
you know?
That
Like,
is weird. I was like, what? Yeah, I don't know. I thought it might have been just like that they had to disclose a family of or a history of the family or something like
but
that.
why
You
would
know,
that be in the family
I
history?
know. I don't know. I just
It
took it at face value. I didn't really
yeah,
think anything
it just
deeper.
didn't really make any sense, and I'm kind of realizing right now. And me and my sister have a great relationship now. We were kids,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
I've
yeah. I
never
was
punched my sister as an
thank you
adult.
for that. I was gonna say
Okay,
thank you for the clarification.
all
Thank you.
right, okay, all right, everybody, okay. And I'm very happy we have a good relationship now.
Exactly.
Um, Shout out my sister.
Hey.
Um, but yeah, the like needling away at him and driving him insane and everything, and
So fucked up.
somehow she just like knew everything about them, like she knew that their dad abused him.
That
she
yeah, okay,
she,
you're putting that together for me
she
right
was
now.
like
That's
pushing
actually
him
interesting.
towards all these things, so I
Mhm.
think. And but this is the thing, is like there's a lot of stuff that Laura does that just isn't explained, but would require a lot of explanation for it to really
The
make
drink
sense.
for me the drink his pre-workout shake that makes sense to me because they don't ever show anything about that. They literally only show her touching the bottle, like checking
Mm,
it a couple times, and then later on she's flushing it down the sink.
mm.
that's literally, yeah. So she was drugging him that entire time to also
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, okay, and that
but that would
explains
also
it too, because
require some, yeah, some
every
plugging of
time
your
he
own
was
bridges.
every time he woke up with like drool on his face, I was like, that doesn't like look like
It
normal
was normal, yeah.
drool.
That's
Like,
literally what it was, yeah, because she was
just
doing
like
that, and then
I,
bro, she pissed his pants. It's
yeah,
that's
that's
like,
crazy.
god damn,
Hey,
diabolical, bro.
you see where that dude went? He shit my pants.
That's exactly what I was
like,
thinking, dude. Oh my god, I was like,
like
when she had the towel, like when she flipped out the towel, I was like,
immediately,
no. I
immediately.
was like, no, she has
That
great aim, by the way. Great
Yeah,
aim.
it's truly superb. Better than most guys.
Exactly.
The craziest part to me was in all of her schemes to like fucking drive them apart by like she would be like, Andy, open up to me. And it's because she knew there were things to open up about. So
Hmm.
it like this movie truly requires that like after her daughter died, she immediately put her in a freezer, which is like, why would she do that if she didn't know about the ritual? Somehow she like
I think
tracked
she
down and
might have though,
there's just nothing that like supports that she would have known
because she
before.
has stacks of the tapes. There's like stacks of them in the room. That's what I thought. Like that to me, that means, oh, someone has been doing their fucking homework on something.
But it seems like it's a change from after, because after her daughter died, like she quit being a counselor and she went into all of this and she kidnapped Ollie. Like she would have never kidnapped Ollie if not for wanting to use him for this purpose. So I don't think she
Hmm.
like has had him for a super long time. You know what would tell us is when you see the movie for the fourth time, when they do the heights against the wall.
Yeah, they
Look at the latest date and the
yeah,
earliest date of
yeah.
Ollie's heights, and that'll explain.
Yeah, so they do mention, she says something as soon as Piper stands up against the wall. She says, "You're like just a bit taller than Kathy was," or something like that. And then you see that afterwards. You see that like little
Yeah, you see
scratch there, and I was like, "Oh,
Kathy's
that's
mark.
cool." Yeah, and
Yeah,
then, oh well, we're still talking about that. I want to get back to how she killed the dad, but real quick before I forget, when she's marking the fucking white line in the pool.
yeah.
Did you see that she,
Eh,
before that, she puts her knee up against the wall to measure it?
no.
That's literally what she did. I was like, dude, that's fucking crazy. She literally puts her knee up against it and then she does that. She does the like the brush. I was like, whoa, that's nuts.
Explain that to me. Why her
Because she did
knee?
it for be able to like the water has to be able at that height to be able to justify her actually drowning in a pool of water.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I thought it was that height,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what really killed Kathy?
The no.
Kathy didn't drown. She smashed her head and
I
died.
did see that. Yeah, that she. Oh, it was the fucking the pipe, right?
No, dude. She said we fill our pool with rainwater. She has a blind daughter and she fills the pool with rainwater because her daughter loves the rain and she wants to have this little magic pixie life.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter, unattended, walked outside after it rained, assumed that there was enough water in the pool, and dove in headfirst and died.
Oh,
So she died because of her mother's like
negligence, like.
negligence. I was gonna say not neglect. Negligence I think is the right
Mm-hmm.
word
Mm-hmm.
because it was a momentary thing. But
Yeah.
it's also because of her being like so hippy dippy and all of that stuff.
Oh,
Like she just
interesting.
because she's floating there with massive bleeding, and then she goes and measures the pool to exactly the height
Mhm.
that it
Yeah.
was at when her daughter
Or
drowned.
down dry. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense too.
So
God
so
damn,
we're
dude, that's
both
crazy. You were
we're
picking up
both
on the same thing, but just at different angles.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, that's a massive amount of blood. Why is that
Mm-hmm.
happening if
Mm-hmm.
she
I know,
drowned?
I know. When she like dives in after, I was like, what the fuck happened there?
And yeah, like that's not drowning.
No, no.
That's a
You
different
drown
thing to
after the
have.
fact because you're unconscious and then
Yeah,
your lungs taking water. But yeah.
yeah. So that's what killed her is
Wow, that's
her
crazy.
mom being so like free flowing and silly and goofy with everything. Oh, we fill
Yeah.
our pool with rainwater. We've got these little buckets all around with poles on them that redirect the water into the pool because she
Yeah,
loves the
yeah,
rain
yeah.
so
That's
much. Also, you're
wow,
gonna
you're
give your
so
fucking
right.
daughter Giardia.
Yeah, for real, dude. What the
Like,
fuck? I know. Seriously, yeah, that's so interesting though that you just pieced that together for me right now. That's so fucking
and,
fascinating.
and I think that that's actually like an incredible, that's masterful writing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's that's
100%.
that's how all these little pieces of
Literally, this whole
information.
movie is show don't tell.
Yeah,
Literally, this whole
yeah.
movie is show don't tell. I fucking love it.
But I think they did need to tell a little more about how like she like stalked the fuck out of them. She knew everything about
Hmm.
them. She masterminded this whole situation. She knew that they were within. She knew that she was visually impaired like her
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah.
She knew that she was around the same age as her daughter. She knew that her brother had is troubled, so she'd be able to like split them up in the system.
Hmm.
She knew that they only had one guardian, so if he passed away, there'd be no one to take care of them. So she just
That's what I'm saying.
somehow
How
magically she followed them around and she made their dad trip and fall in the shower and
okay,
die.
because okay, so you don't actually know how she did it,
There's
like, but
yeah,
there's
there's
no explanation for sure. I agree with
I don't
that.
think the Philippos know.
No, well, okay, but that's the thing. I maybe think that that's something that they were intending to maybe build on in the future. I think,
I would be delightfully surprised if there's some plot holes in Talk to Me as well, and when they do like talk to them, that it
yeah,
like brings it all, and they're like, "Hey, did you hear about this lady who was doing all this cult
it was
stuff?"
so funny in one of the interviews. He was like, "I have like 40 titles written down for Talk to Me too." He
That's
started naming.
funny.
It's like Talk to Me. It's like Talk to Me.
Hmm.
Like,
That's what it should have been.
yeah, talk to me again.
Certainly should have been Talk to Me.
Exactly. So yeah, but I think like in those, like I said, and that sequel, I'm thinking maybe they possibly will be building on the world in part one,
That would
which they said would also link to building the universe out and bring her back too. So
I mean that would be good, you know,
mhm.
just judging this like as itself as a
Yeah,
microcosm,
yeah,
I do think they needed to give a little more explanation
sure,
to did she just go crazy and research a bunch of things on the internet and somehow
sure.
on the dark web this has she been part of this cult forever? Is this her legitimate belief or is it what it seems like is after Kathy died
Mhm.
she somehow found this and she just kept getting more and more tapes to try and understand more of what she's doing because
Mhm.
someone online was like it's kind of like watching a YouTube video and like fucking all the directions up and like going back and like when she's like trying to fix him when he's falling apart
Yes,
it's
yes,
like
yeah,
going
yeah,
back and being like fuck where
yeah.
what did I
Literally,
miss what did
yeah.
I
Where's the
like
timestamp? Yeah.
like why is this not fucking working the way it's supposed
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
uh,
But I do think you're onto something there though, like with that, because they do, like I said, there is one point I forget who exactly she's talking to. I think she might be talking to
Is it
Andy.
Wendy?
Is it Wendy later on where she
She.
says, "And I killed him" at the end of a statement?
Oh no, it's Andy where
It's
she does it.
Andy, right? Yeah, yeah.
It's after Andy hits his head in the shower,
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah,
and
yeah. She's in the hospital with him, and then she says, "Yeah," and that's why I killed him or something like that.
she's trying to because again she's trying to get him committed on a psych hold
Exactly.
so that she can carry out her plans, but she
Hmm.
just doesn't have any like end game at all. Like she's just like
No, and I love that though. I love that she's improvising on the fly. Fucking, it makes it so much more dangerous.
it does, but it's also just like especially by the time the climax happens, it's just like there's no way in which you walk out of this clean.
No, and then
Like we're
yeah,
past that, buddy.
for
You
sure. But
know?
that's what I'm saying. Like that's the fucking morbid curiosity of it. You're like, I just want to see how far this goes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
by the end of it, and
Yeah.
that's what I feel like they really got to, because by the end of it, I don't want to like jump too far ahead of it, but yeah, by the end of it, I felt different things about her. I won't say I felt empathy like you're saying, but I felt different things about her character as it was going on. And I felt like that's a sign of a really fucking good script and a really good performance as well.
I just hated her like with everything from the first frame she was in. It was
Oh,
just
I
like it was
loved
just
it.
very
Yeah.
clear
I loved it,
and
man.
I can hate her while also loving the writing
Yeah,
because
absolutely. That's
be,
exactly, yep. Yep.
it is
Exactly right.
like the person broken and corrupted by grief and realistic human emotions and
Yep.
things that happen in life, I think there is a lot of value in that. But I think a lot of people are going, like I'm like, wow, she's a broken mother. That's crazy. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people are just going, she's a broken mother. And so
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
need to, put her feelings first. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like no, she actually like she in her quest to revive her one child,
Mm-hmm.
she irreparably ruined three other children.
She murdered people.
Yeah, she
She
murders
fucking
she
murdered
she
people.
murders people, but us like very specifically.
Yeah,
She
specifically,
tried
yeah.
to trade three children for her
For
one
one.
child,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
and there's just no amount of like, oh, I can understand. It's
Mm.
not it's
Oh yeah,
not it's not
100%.
that I can truly understand. It's how on a writing level I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
that justifies creating this
Hmm.
character.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas if that would have been the narrative that they were going for, it would have been a little more icky. You know what I mean?
Ye-
That would have been like,
Yeah,
it's not. I'm not
like
really
I'm
trying
not
to.
yeah, like I'm like I don't think we're supposed to like at the end be like, man, she just got a bad deal.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
No, no,
like
no. She
no,
actively chose to have that bad
yes.
fucking deal.
Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah.
She chose to handle this poorly in the most insane way. But
Dude, the fucking funeral scene, man. Oh my God. I want to talk about it so bad.
so that kind of leads into it because in the funeral scene, she's telling him to like kiss his father on the
Oh,
lips
fuck, man.
and like trying to like push his
Well,
head
okay,
down.
she says specifically, she says, kiss your father. It's custom.
Hmm.
Like it's a tradition, which is interesting. I forgot to double check, but they were doing research for the movie before they started, and they said I think it was Greek Orthodox. There's a tradition with the funerals that they do kiss the forehead of the body.
Oh,
That's actually
I've done that at funerals of loved ones.
yeah, exactly.
You
No, no,
know?
I no, no, no. Yeah, I'm just saying that like they were saying. So there is truth to her statement. It's custom. There's
Yeah.
truth to that. Then she takes it a step further and tells him, "This is the last time you're gonna ever be able to do this. You know, you need to do this." And then she forces him. Then she tells him, "Then you need to kiss him on the lips. It's custom. Let me help you." And then she starts like forcing him. She doesn't. He doesn't actually do it, but he gets close enough, and then she's like, "I got you, I got you." Like she, when he forces back and pulls back, she's like, she's trying to give him that reassurance and cover up her fucking, just
How
what she's trying
fucking
to do.
weird she is. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah,
And
literally,
then she takes some of his hair.
which was crazy, bro.
Yes,
That
it's
was
gnarly ass
fucking
move.
wild, yeah.
She takes his hair and feeds it to
I think she does it
Ollie.
before. She does it before she forces him to kiss, actually.
She
Because she
made
goes,
she
yeah, because he goes out, yeah, because
yeah.
it literally is while they're outside in on the
This is
front,
like
yeah.
the beginning of her trying to build the wedge because he tells Piper is like, how does he look? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, he looks great, but he's not looking. And then she's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna let
Great.
you leave without looking at him.
She says, but that I loved. Oh, I loved the grapefruit thing. I loved it so much. That
I
was so.
I I hated it because it was unclear how it worked.
Yeah, well, it was just basically like, tell me the truth. Like I read that right off the bat. I was like, oh, okay, that because they have
No,
to have
no,
a like a language
I
between.
understood that's what it was supposed to be, but it
Mm.
was just used very inconsistently. Where like he would say something, then she would be like grapefruit, and he
Well,
would be like,
because that's the thing. You're supposed to see how how deeply she takes it. You know what I mean?
No,
And
no,
how much that affects her
no,
when
I
it's
get it,
betrayed.
but like I'm just saying, like he would say something, and then she would say grapefruit, as in like, "Are you telling me the truth?" And he would
Mm-hmm.
go, "Yeah," and then they would also just make statements and then go grapefruit, and sometimes it was a lie and sometimes it was true, and I was just like, this doesn't like, so
I
it
mean,
was
I
just
watched it the 3 times. Yeah, I think it seems pretty consistent to me.
it just I don't know,
It-
man. I just hate I just don't think the writing of Piper was very good, and it just like
I
in
think the
terms of
performance was fantastic, though, man. I
I
honestly do
think she
think her
performed
performance was
okay, but
fantastic.
like even with everything going on, it was just like very unbelievable to me that she would be like when it gets to the point where she dresses up or she doesn't dress up, she like sprays his cologne all over and goes into
Yeah,
her
that
room.
was fucking crazy, bro.
And I was scared because do you want to know what I thought was going to happen?
What?
I thought she was going to molest her.
Oh, I mean, I didn't see the movie ever really going that
Well,
route.
no, but I was like, I thought she was gonna do that silently, pretending to be Andy
Hmm.
and completely destroy, you know,
Like, no, yeah, that's what I don't think.
I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't get me
absolutely,
wrong.
100%. Yeah,
I
we wouldn't
was
be doing a show if you weren't.
I was utterly horrified.
Absolutely.
I was like, please don't do this.
Yeah, it's the
You
setup.
know?
It like it literally leaves it as so up in the
But
air, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, what the
but
fuck?
when she punches her in the face and runs away, and then the next day she's like, "Oh, you know what you did, Andy? Look at your sister. Oh, you did this. Oh, he's so violent. You know, he hit you when you were 8, and it's because your dad hit him,
Hmm.
and also because of this, that, and that." And then she's like, "Well, it did smell like you, Andy. Like." Who in that like that's just such an unbelievable response.
I
Like
think she's just being.
you would believe it is him over the new person who has been like constantly trying to
Because
drive.
that's the thing, though. That's why I like about her is because she's such a young character. She's being pulled in every direction, and I feel like that made it that read to me because there are points in the movie that she gets so close to Laura, and she's like hanging on to her like she would be a mother figure because she's missing a parent. You know what I mean?
But even with that, they also go out of their way to show you that she actually doesn't have any connection with her and doesn't want to be close with her.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Because I can understand where like because I know what you're saying. When she
After,
asked her at the end, when she's like, "Would you want to stay here?" and she's like, "No, I
and
think
she's like, "No,
no,
bitch,
yeah."
obviously not." Like it just like that also just
I
undercut so much of the movie
I
to be
don't
like, "Oh, so she doesn't even like her that much." But
yeah.
she's like so wrapped around her finger to the point that she's like, if you're in that situation, why would you ever think that it was your brother and not her? If your brother hit you one time 6 years ago
Yeah.
because your dad was abusing him and now your dad is dead,
Hmm.
why would you think it's your brother that hit you? Even if it smelled like him, it would be like, yeah, it smelled like his cologne,
I
but
think it's just
you
she's so caught up with it, but she's so confused, and that adds to the confusion, I think, you know.
when she starts yelling about like your dad hit him and that's why he hit you and
Hmm.
all this stuff, like I feel like anybody would be like, you need to shut the fuck up and stop talking about my dad and my brother and all these things.
Hmm. Well,
Like it
that's what
is
I'm saying.
like,
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't.
but
They
she's
don't
just like,
show her.
Andy, you're crazy. You
Yeah.
need to leave. I'm against you. I'm a child, and writers think that when there's a child character, they can just be absolutely stupid. Like it's just that's
But she's
she's
not.
just
She's
such a
not though.
moron until
I
the last 5
that's what I'm
minutes.
saying. I don't think she is actually I think like that was believable that she's being pulled in so many directions because fucking you know as well as I do, grief fucks with you in different ways. Like,
If she would have been like more conflicted with the ask of mom, like there's just inconsistency.
mm,
Like if she's really
I
that
I
wrapped around
think
her
so.
finger, then why is she like, no, I'm leaving in three
I
months,
don't know. I thought it worked.
temporary.
I thought it worked. I thought it because again because she's put in such an it this is such a fish out of water situation, pun intended, fish out of water situation where she just doesn't know where she's supposed to be now that her her family is fucking pulling away from her. At this point, Andy was more out the door and like, it felt like a foot out the door because he was so caught up with all the shit that she was gaslighting him with. So it was
Hmm.
like it's understandable in in Piper's world that she would probably latch onto the person who was physically there closer to her.
But even after he leaves and goes, she's still like that's when the mom scene happens. Is
Yeah, yeah,
after he
yeah.
runs away,
Mhm.
and she's like, "No, I'm obviously gonna move in with my brother, the one who
Yeah,
you're
but
trying to
that
convince me just hit me."
yeah, but that can be
You
also
know?
read as something else. Like that could also be, the kids having the naivete of like, oh, things are gonna work out, like, whatever. Like the parents are always gonna be together.
I just can't imagine a time in my childhood where I was naive or stupid enough where I would be in a situation where it was me and one of my siblings against anyone else, and I
Mhm.
would ever believe what the other person said about my sibling.
It's also step sibling. Makes that a parent. I'm just gonna say that.
I mean, but like you say that, but also they make it really clear,
That they're,
especially
they're close. Yeah, of course.
especially in the "Will you call me mom" scene. She
Yeah,
makes it
yeah,
really
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
She's like, "No, I'm gonna be living with my brother when he's a grown man. I'm gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
dependent of my brother." That's
Yeah.
like they're close. Like
Yeah, no,
if
no,
it
I know. I'm just fucking around. I'm just like, I'm just trying to play both sides. But I'm just saying, I
yeah.
think it worked for me because she's a kid thrown into a situation that you don't even know how you would react if you were put in that circumstance. You know what I mean? That's particular set of circumstances, I guess.
Hmm.
But I liked the way that she played it in that role because again, you kind of see her conflicted, wanting to believe that her brother is this caretaker and that he's okay, but then she doesn't. She's learning things again, like that he is capable of lying to her, and that
I
she's supposed to be trusting him. You know what I mean?
I feel like the gaslighting of Andy was like
Mm.
very masterful, and the gaslighting of Piper was like, she can't see and she's 13, so she's an
Not as
idiot.
thoroughly thought out.
Like
Like not as yeah. I
that's
feel you.
how it seemed to me, was
I
just
feel
like
you.
it was just like she's an idiot, so whatever.
I feel you. And then,
Like,
who knows? That could be speaking to the character thinking that she was easier to manipulate because she was, visibly impaired. So it was like,
yeah, yeah, and I think there's ways in which that is true, but it just it's more her intelligence than anything that allows her,
mm.
it's just she doesn't really display it just makes her seem stupid
I
that
feel
she
you.
like when she gets picked up by her at I forget what they call it, the game that they play.
Yeah, yeah. I know he says it in the beginning. I don't know what it's
they they,
specifically called.
they do say, I don't know the name of it, but it's like
Yeah,
dodgeball-esque.
dodgeball esque. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Hmm.
when she comes to pick her up and just like grabs her by the arm and she's dragging her out of there, and the coach is like, "What's going on with her eye?" And she's like, "Not now." And Piper's still like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah. She's
"What
still like, what the fuck? Yeah.
like Jesus fucking Christ!"
I
Like,
mean, either way, I think it works. I was gonna say, can we talk about the funeral scene? There was actually something I wanted to
oh
bring
yeah,
up that.
sir. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's all good. So the funeral scene was actually inspired by a strange encounter that Danny had with a random family friend who he didn't actually know and didn't really even like at
Oh
a
Jesus.
funeral when he was a kid. Yeah, it wasn't actually kissing
That
on the lips.
that
Yeah,
that feels like this sort of thing that a fucking weirdo you only see at events like that
yeah.
would do to you. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that he was like just trying to grieve and like, just trying to have a moment and that the person came over and was just like, "Oh my God, like Dan like I'm so sorry. Like Danny, are you okay? Like everybody, he's okay. He's going to be okay." And like kind of just drawing the attention on him and he was just
Uh,
like, "Oh, what the fuck? Like leave me alone, dude." Like it was one of those that, like and I was like, "Oh, you could the uncomfortableness of that scene is so palpable." And that it came from somewhere real. I was like, that feels like something that just could happen. You know what I mean?
yeah.
At a funeral. It was so icky feel. It was so disgusting. It was just so like predatory, It was so cool
Yeah.
how they included that. It was a very clever writing again.
Yeah, it was mad uncomfortable, and her being like in purple and everything
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
just flaunting and like so disrespectful to him, which
Yeah.
like I feel like that just nails home like she really did kill him, because she
Yeah,
feeds
that's so
Oliver,
interesting. Yeah.
she feeds him his
The
hair,
hair,
and then
dude.
again this is inconsistent because the hair fully physically transforms him into his father. He's like the same height, the same build. He literally transforms into their dad and goes into the shower, and it's actually like very Resident
Is
Evil-y.
that okay? Is that what you read that scene? I literally have a note in here to ask you about
Yeah,
that scene.
she fed Ollie the hair,
Uh-huh.
and then he went and got in the shower because he's all distressed and freaked out,
Yeah.
and because this is after the scene where Oliver eats the
Yeah.
knife,
Oh God, we
because
didn't
she keeps
fucking talk
Oliver
about it,
locked
dude.
up, crated like a fucking dog, basically.
Dude, that shit. Okay, okay, let's fuck that. Let's go. Let's backtrack. Let's talk about the knife real quick. Let's talk about.
Yeah, we got to take things in the order.
Good God, dude, that
So
fucking
the
scene, man.
sound. I
The
thought we were.
sound, yeah,
I thought
literally.
that was gnarly.
It's so fucked, man.
He gets him out of the room that Oliver is locked in, and
Hmm.
he's giving him like melon.
Yeah,
I'm
he's literally cutting up cantaloupe,
cantaloupe.
and he's
Thank
yeah,
you.
he's cutting up cantaloupe, and
Which,
he's like,
by the
"Well, this
way,
fruit isn't free."
very, very worst flavoring for a pre-roll I've ever experienced. It haunts me to this
That's
day.
so funny.
Haunts me to this day. Why would you do that?
Yeah, he's cutting it out. He's just like, oh, I need to talk to you though. Like you, like here, how do I do that? And so he hands him a notebook, and he's like, okay, well then write it down. And so he fucking slides in the notebook, cuts a piece of the melon, and then he stabs the melon with a knife, and he hands it over to him like so. And then he fucking turns away. Well, first, Ollie starts grabbing it. He grabs the
He
fruit.
grabs the
He
blade
grabs the blade. Yeah, he grabs the blade, and he's like, no, take the fruit. And then like he, I don't know why the fuck he lets go of the knife.
because the only other option is to pull on the knife, and that's when the fingies come
Ah,
off.
fair, I guess. But Jesus Christ, and he fucking leaves, sets the
He
knife
turns
down,
around.
turns around, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for something." You just hear the crunch, 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 and then he
It's a
fucking
sound that'll live in my soul
yeah,
forever.
it's gonna fucking scar you. He turns around and sees Ollie chewing down on the blade of the knife, fucking going teeth. Blade is vertical in his mouth. He's
It's
chomping
between
down.
his teeth. It's chipping off
It's
teeth.
chipping it
It's
into the
ripping into his
gums,
gum and his lip,
and
and
he fucking twists it in his mouth. And like that was when I screamed. I was just like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking the exact same fucking stress, like massaging my face. Yeah, exactly.
I screamed when he pulled the knife out,
Yeah, yep, yeah,
and
exactly. I
and
was like,
then
nope.
and then he's freaking out trying to get him, like, figure out what to do, and
Yeah.
he's gonna take him to his car to drive him out. And when they cross the chalk line in front of the house,
Mm,
which like was very clearly a ceiling circle,
crazy. Yeah, yeah.
and we see a ceiling circle in the beginning of the movie as well.
Yes, I want to talk about
Oh,
that more.
oh, actually, you know what? Because that's how they get over on the demon.
I
Is
said they
that
seal it in. Yeah.
Yeah, they seal the demon in, and then they probably just exorcise the demon. But they
Hmm.
probably like promise the demon, oh, if you do this. So I don't know if like the cult has one, and they just keep him in the circle, and they
Yeah.
just do this all the time,
So I
or
want to bring up two things before we get off of the blade. Quickly, Danny was the one who had to do the foley for the fucking sound because they couldn't recreate that. So he
oh,
literally got a blade and started binding on it.
oh, that's so bad.
I
I
needed to
don't.
bring that up. That was just burning within me.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so he's like, it was literally just me just chewing on a blade. I was like, that's fucked up. And then second,
don't like it.
yeah, I don't. Me neither, buddy. So second, it's so interesting that the rain starts melting away the ceiling circle at one point.
Yeah, it
But
weakens the seal.
it does. But I didn't. I so the when you were just talking about the hair and everything, we're gonna get back to the scene, but with the dad and everything, when she feeds him the hair, when she goes to close the door, you see that there's a ceiling circle in her room.
Mm.
There's literally a white strip above the door frame. I was like, oh, that's why she keeps them locked in. That's how she keeps them locked in there.
Interesting, but that
Mhm.
but that fails because he broke the window.
Well, he broke the window because he was able to go out the other way. But also, the other one is that Andy just let him in. He opened up the door and broke in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but
So rendering it useless. But
remember
yes, you're right.
the
You're
first time when he breaks the window
mhm.
and then he wanders around for like
To get his
a
chickens.
he wanders around for like a third of the movie without her like ever going to check in on him.
It's a couple of scenes. It is actually. I know because I was like, I know. So I was like, damn, you really are just neglecting this child.
It's like absolutely absurd how like uninvested she is in keeping tabs on the
Because
demon
she's
that she
also getting
has.
fucked up with the kids. Like, granted, they're having a party, which is like
Yeah.
it's understandable too.
Which is, yeah, just her trying to get it to a believable point where she can, do more horrible
Hmm.
mastermind things.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, the kids just walking around. I'm just
God,
like Jesus Christ,
yeah, just what?
terrorizing those chickens, man.
Also, he ripped his arm open and then he wandered
Oh
around like for
man,
like
yeah,
in runtime,
yeah,
it was literally like 20 minutes of
yeah.
scenes, but in movie time, it was like 6, 8, 10 hours.
Hmm.
So like the fact like
Just bleeding out.
he would
Yeah.
have bled out and died. He
Ugh.
literally would have died from the size of wound he had on his hand because
Yeah.
he ripped his whole and your
He
hands are
like jabbed
juicy.
the glass. Yeah. Yeah,
Your
exactly.
hands have a lot of fucking
Hmm.
veins in
A lot
them.
of
So
veins.
and trust me, from a guy who has a boxer's fracture,
Hmm.
there's a lot of blood in there waiting to get out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
that
yeah, he would have fucking died, like so,
I
I was like
fuck.
I was like when are you gonna find this kid hunched over somewhere like
Well, it was interesting too because she goes out at one point before they start drinking. She goes up to the room.
she goes up to the door
She goes
and
up to the door and sees the blood. She sees the blood, and that's why she's just like, "Oh fuck! All right, I'm gonna deal with that later."
yeah,
Like,
I guess she's just confident enough in the circle, but even then it's like the fact that she even lets them see Ollie is actually like it just doesn't make sense that anyone would be like, "Oh, it's okay for them to just see the pet demon that I have."
I
Like
mean, it is
he's so clearly an evil
an evil
monster
demon.
child the first time you see him.
I really liked real quick to bring this up in the beginning when they're showing who when they're filming the tapes, the person holding the camcorder is zooming in on the person who's possessed, and they zoom in on the eye, and on the eye you see the same exact birthmark that Ollie has.
Mm.
I thought that was fucking
Oh,
cool. Yeah, I thought that
interesting.
was really fucking
Oh,
cool. I was like,
you're right too because when we see the pictures of him as Connor Bird, he
"Yep,
doesn't have that.
doesn't have it."
And
And then
why is Connor Bird so coded?
so stupid.
Tell me I'm
The seagull
wrong.
from Surf's Up.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Or the what's the chicken? Yeah, the chicken, the chicken from Surf's Up.
He could be the chicken from anything, bro, as long as he's surfing.
Dude, no, yeah, and then like I want to talk about the fucking context that he was wearing throughout the whole movie. They keep changing.
That kid's
They look
crazy.
fucking awesome, dude. So when they first show him, when he turns around and he looks at it and he's in the pool, there's a fucking one I pointed out last night when I saw it. There's one iris is bigger than the other. And it's like there's like red kind of like or like veiny like kind of little like remnants in one of his I think it's his left eye. But yeah, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's so sick. And then yeah, as it keeps going on further and further, the eyes start taking like red around the whites of them, and like it starts getting all black and fucking milky and shit. It looks fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
The all the prosthetics team, the costume department, everybody went off. Like every fucking person in this movie
Y- You know
was
what's
on
kind of
it.
funny is I'm looking at pictures of him right now.
Yeah.
Is he actually really looks like a friend that I had in high school. He was part of a foster family
Mm.
and this he hella looks like his little foster brother.
He was the inspiration.
It hella looks like him. It cracks me up. I can't even remember this kid's name. I remember my friend's name, but I can't remember the kid's name. But yeah,
Yeah,
if I could show you a picture of him as I
side
remember him,
by side.
you'd be like, oh shit, that's Connor Bird. Um,
Yeah, but dude, my God. The kid, man, when she goes, okay, well, when she's bathing him, I want to talk about that scene in the fucking mirror, dude.
oh yeah,
That was cool
I
as
thought that
fuck.
was super
That
interesting,
was
and I
so
was
good.
really looking forward to like getting a scene of like literally, I'm the demon, let's talk about it,
Mhm.
because
That's good.
it was clearly like physically pushing out of his
Hmm.
body, like his
Hmm.
head becomes like
Oh, the
distended.
bulging, and it almost feels
Eventually,
like horns were about to like pop out from his head. Like that's kind of
yeah,
feels like there's like bumps there.
I was expecting like full prosthetics for that kid by the end, and I mean
Mhm.
there was quite a bit on him, but like
I like that we got the little glimpses of something even more grotesque though, like in the bathtub. That looks oh my god, dude. That because again, it's kind of like not showing
oh
me
yeah, and it
everything.
shatters the glass. Yeah,
Exactly, it
yeah.
shatters the glass because it shows him,
Yeah.
and then it's him in the reflection looking up, and he's like looking terrified. But then it like shows again. She looks again, and it's the full ass fledged demon just in the
Yeah.
fucking tub, and then it just
Yeah.
explodes the mirror.
It's just it's just such an often used trope that it's like I'm at the point where I'm like if you're going to do that, I want to actually see it. I don't
Can
want
I
it to.
pet that dog?
You're gonna spend 10 hours putting this kid in makeup for me to see it for like less than a second.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like if you're gonna include that, just have it. Like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a case of like I don't care for what you wish for. 'Cause sometimes you get it and then you're just like, ah, it's too much. I didn't like that.
It's just kind of like literally like Longlegs did the same thing of just like there's spooky
Mhm.
eyes over here, and it was
Yeah.
just like okay, but they're not fucking doing anything, so get the fuck out of here,
So
Brajol.
yeah, but I mean, yeah. Beyond that, okay, we got to the. So you think that's what happened? I thought it was not essentially her sending like a vision to him,
No,
but
yeah,
I
it was
thought, yeah, I don't know what I thought
he
about that scene. It was
he
just so
he
strange.
he is able. This
Hmm.
demon is able to harness and be a shepherd for people's souls,
Hmm.
and we're led to believe that your soul remains because that's the thing is when movies like do this kind of stuff, they're saying literally in this universe those are the rules.
Hmm.
So in this universe, your soul is in every single cell of your body for months after you die
Yeah.
to the extreme that this demon can eat a piece of you and have a piece of your soul inside of him. And I'm guessing if he doesn't release it by doing what the ritual is about,
Hmm.
I'm guessing he digests it, so to speak. So,
We do see that at one point.
so he ate the hair
Hmm.
and he became their father because the little piece of his father
Hmm.
was
Was
in.
still in there.
So it's not that that the demon Oliver went in there. That's the funny thing is is probably actually the demon's name. It's not Connor's name.
True. True. True.
Um, so she he goes in there and it's not anything other than she knew seeing his dad would freak him out and probably make him do something
Even
crazy.
more
Plus the drugs
unreliable.
that
Yeah.
she's giving him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when he comes home, he's like, and
Yeah,
that's
just fucking out of it. Yeah, that poor dude has come to the fucking ringer, dude.
Yeah. And so because you remember what the dad says to him in that moment, right?
Hmm.
After
He
he
says she'll die
falls,
in the rain.
she'll because he's in heaven now and time doesn't exist in heaven, so he knows that she's gonna die, I guess. But
I
he
yeah,
he
I
he comes to he does not come to scare and hurt his son.
mm-mm.
He comes to warn his son.
Mhm, mhm.
And she knew that the dad's soul would have no choice but to go try and do that because if he went to Piper, she wouldn't see him, so she wouldn't know it was him.
Mhm.
So she's like manipulating these events. So it's not that she made Oliver do this. Oliver ate it, and then the dad's soul
Yeah.
decided to go do that. And
You
that's why he didn't hurt him, even though it seems like that's what's gonna happen. Is his dad's like a monster now? It's
yeah.
just that his dad was in Oliver's body and came to warn him.
Well, there's the thing too about like how Oliver is able to mimic the voices
Well,
too.
that's not mimicking. That's
No, no, no.
Andy.
I know, but I'm just saying that like there is something to that. You're right though, like with the demon being able to like
Yeah, and after
mimic things.
after he eats Trash Man's tail,
Oh,
he's
poor
like
trash
he
man.
like acts like a feral cat for a little
Or
while.
junk
Junk
man.
Man, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like hissing and shit.
Oh, you're totally fucking right. Oh shit.
And at the very end, Andy is
Oh, that's
made to leave
so interesting.
after she hits Piper and pretends it's him.
Yeah.
He goes and gets Wendy, the
Yeah, the counselor, the other one,
counselor
yeah.
or foster system person,
Yeah.
and says, she kidnapped this child because he just happens to see in the last moment that it was Connor. And I wish he would have known that like before going. Like I think that would have been more compelling if he would have been trying to like tell her like Oliver's not Oliver. He was like kidnapped and she's, you know, will you hit me? That would have maybe made that like more interesting. I think like yelling all the stuff about their dad and everything, like that's what makes me like, yeah, it just becomes really clear she's trying to manipulate you.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
if she would have just let that be the conflict of like, okay, you're hitting me, you're saying all this
Gosh,
crazy
I
stuff, you're
understand what you're
acting
saying.
nuts. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing?
Hmm.
But anyway, he leaves. He goes in to see Wendy, and as he's going to see Wendy, he happens to see the Connor Bird thing. There's a cop in the room while he's talking to Wendy. So if he hadn't seen the Connor Bird thing, he would have just been arrested that night. Because
Yeah, true. Yeah.
so he talks her into like, let's go see what's going on.
Yeah, literally that's his leverage to be able to get her to go. Yeah.
And Ollie, throughout the whole movie, the demon's basically starving to death, and I think that this is a
Hmm.
key thing. And to me, I thought this was purposeful, and now I don't like feel like it was thought out as much as I thought it was. But this ritual takes like 2 minutes when we first see it, but the way she's
Well,
doing
she's
it,
like fast forwarding.
well, no, she's not fast forwarding. She's doing it over like a 6 month period.
No, no,
She
no. I'm saying through the tapes when she's watching it.
Oh no, 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 no. But I just mean literally, it's just like you do the circle, you have the demon, you kill the other person, the demon eats the person that you loved,
Hmm.
and then he spits the soul in. Boom, you're done.
Hmm.
But she like has the body, but she obviously feels conflicted about actually letting him like eat the body. Like she doesn't want to do that until it's absolutely necessary because the body is obviously
It's
her.
still in there. Well, the soul is still in there at some point.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
but she's like, no, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet,
Hmm.
not yet, not yet, soon, not yet, not yet. And so the demon is just like going crazy, like I'm
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
starving. I need to
I
eat
love
something.
when he gets into the kitchen,
Yeah.
fucking gets the jug of milk. I was just
He's
like,
just
we're out
like
of milk.
eating them. He's eating the jug, literally the jug.
Yeah, dude, it's fucked up, man. It's yeah, that poor kid, man. That shit is fucking, and
But
his stomach's all distended. I was like, oh my
yeah.
god.
But she's just dragging this out. So like to
Mm-hmm.
me, I feel like I thought well, I'll wait till we get to the ending to tell
Mm-hmm.
you how I thought that was going to happen. But she's very much like dragging this process out, and the demon is like not fucking happy about it,
No, no.
to the point that
Keeps trying to attack her.
he rips a chunk out of her
Yep, it
arm
does
at,
attack her. Yep.
and then she hears over the phone that Wendy's with
Oh, you're
Andy.
totally right because when he rips a chunk out of her, he starts screaming in her voice. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that. That's
so he
wild.
he took a little piece of her soul,
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
and
Oh man.
And so she like wraps her arm up and acts like she was in the shower when Wendy
Mhm.
arrives, and she's taking Wendy around and telling her everything's
Well, she
fine.
did. This was the whole. I love that they do a Ferris Bueller's Day Off scene.
Yeah,
I love that.
that is pretty funny that they
That's
did.
literally just. It literally was that. It's so funny,
That
dude.
is pretty fucking funny. That
Yeah,
is.
and it worked. It was silly, but I was like, it works. It works in the movie. It works really well.
Yeah, I was like, it's very odd that we're watching her do this, you know? Like
Hmm.
usually it's
Hmm.
someone you're rooting for. So
Literally, yeah, yeah.
maybe that's subconsciously like where I was at. That's funny.
That's yeah, that's literally what it was, and I appreciated that little bit in there. And but that was good. Yeah, you're right, and it was like,
It's fucked up that after that movie, Cameron got the shit beat out of him.
and, and then the whole thing with Matthew Broderick, and oh man. Anyway, let's get back to something less tragic.
Yeah, less bad. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yep.
Um, yeah.
So
So she Ferris Bueller's,
does she?
and then she gets all dressed like, oh, I'm just in my little robe,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then she starts bleeding on Wendy, and
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and then she starts to like this too. Like she tells Wendy, actually, this proves that she wasn't in the cult. She tells her, I found something. I can bring her back.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
that means literally her daughter died, and instead of having a funeral and burying her, she threw her in a freezer immediately,
Yep.
which is doesn't really make sense unless you knew about this ritual, but she doesn't because she found it after.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if she did find it. It's like it's not clear whether or not she
I'm
did.
pretty
But
sure in that moment she literally tells her, I found something that can bring her back, which pretty clearly indicates she didn't already know about it.
But it could have been that thing where, again, she was aware of this cult, had been doing this, like it could have even been part of at this point, at some point. We don't even know. We have no idea. She just
Well,
has
if she
this
was
stack.
part of it, she would know the ritual.
Sure, sure,
It
sure,
it
sure.
it it seems
It could have
like
been a
this
thing where you were there when you were younger.
it seems like this cult is like it's ring-esque
Mm-hmm.
in terms of there's someone originating it and then it's being sent out
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to being like recruiting. Like it seems
Yeah,
more
that's what I'm
like
saying.
it's
Like,
like
if you find them, you're in, but we're not like actively
well
recruiting members.
well it's not even like you really join the cult. It's like they just give you a secret and then they just let you do chaos to yourself.
Mm. Which, yeah, I mean, if you study, there are some cults that activate like that too.
Yeah, I just mean in terms of like they don't there's no real gain for them. Like it
Hmm.
it seems like the just evil happening is
True
good enough for
chaos is
them.
just the end game for
Yeah,
like that's all it is.
and
It's just
that's fine.
chaos.
And that's fine. I don't think that
Hmm.
that's good or bad. That's
Yeah,
just they're just evil. They're just
it just is.
actually evil.
Exactly.
Like they don't like I don't think that the people making that video think that what they're doing is like in any way okay. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, "Hey, we figured this thing out. Check it
Check
out."
this shit out. I'm
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville. This is
Woo!
cult tapes.
So Wendy and Andy try to flee. Andy finds Ollie eating just her face, but then it looks like his belly makes it look like he ate her entire body, but he just ate one eyeball. Like her whole face is fine. He eats
Yeah.
one
Well, no,
eyeball.
because he'd already eaten half the whole fucking kitchen. That's what it was. He gets in there and he eats the entire kitchen, and then he goes in there and he does it because she doesn't let him. She doesn't let him go at the
Mm.
body until like she says, and so that's why, yeah, he's like, all right, I'm finally gonna get at this. But I wasn't say, did we? Speaking of, in that time, did we even bring up the worst scene in this fucking movie?
Was that?
The hand jerky.
Oh yeah, he just does that like right before then, right? He just
Yeah, it
rips.
was right before. So
Yeah, he
yeah,
just rips a fucking strip off his own arm
bro,
and
he
eats it.
goes in. It was disgusting.
That
It
was
was
crazy.
fucking wrong.
He
Just
went
he
through so
bites a piece of
much.
hand, from his thumb, like underneath, and then just peels, and it just goes. And I was like, oh god. And then he bites it, and then it falls to the floor. I was like, you couldn't even finish it.
It's the type of thing that you actually can't
Uh,
do because your
your
brain
brain will,
your
yeah, yeah,
brain
yeah.
will stop
Stop
you
you. Yep,
even
yep.
if you wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain would not let you do it. Thank you, brain.
Exactly.
Thank you, brain.
But that's so fucking crazy to see that disconnect in a you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
where like that's the show of strength of the supernatural, I guess, at work.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
That's so fucking well done. And my God. Yeah, I really thought the knife was the worst scene. I thought the knife was the
The
worst
knife was
scene.
real bad.
And then that happened, I was like, oh fuck, all the way
I
off,
might still
dude.
think the knife is the worst scene.
I don't know, man. It's yeah. I'm like I'm
I
telling you,
mean,
three
I'm
times that fucking hand scene stuck with me
I mean,
more.
irreparable facial disfigurement
Yeah,
is
it's
just a
rough.
pretty high
It's
bar
rough.
to
Yeah,
set. Um,
that dental bill gonna be
but
nasty after that.
oh yeah. I actually did think about. I was like, there's no amount of surgery that's gonna
Yeah,
make
you
this
did. Yep,
kid
yep.
okay.
Yeah,
Like
to be chewing sideways for the rest of his life.
throw this baby in the dumpster.
So good.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's prom night.
So stupid.
When the vehicular homicide
Uh,
of it all.
that was cool, dude. That was a fucking crazy ass scene. It's so like, again, that sound design is trippy too because it's so
It
loud. It's
it
so like,
truly it
whoa,
truly
shit.
felt like I was in a car accident,
Literally.
which I
Yep.
didn't like.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't
Yeah.
like that. Don't fucking do that to
Exactly.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
was a very weirdly real compared to the other. I guess maybe they just
Yeah.
choose not to because it is just too real. you know,
It's yeah,
because I did not like how it made me feel.
no, it's visceral, dude. But that's like, dude, Andy's death was so heartbreaking. Andy's death is so heartbreaking when that happens, dude. Like, oh my
Oh
God.
yeah, yeah. She rams
Ah,
her. They're
man.
running to Wendy's car
Hmm.
because Wendy drove them there. And as they're running, it's pretty funny too how Wendy goes from like she's like my bestie and you're fucking crazy, and she comes in and she's like, "Look, I have to look. This kid's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
We're gonna get him arrested. Like,
Yeah, literally.
don't worry about it." And she's like, "Yeah, these fucking tossers, eh? You know,
Yep, yep.
Australian." And yeah, only when she starts to bleed on her and then goes full crazy lady. The way Wendy flips, and then when Andy's like, "You need to get out here," and she runs out there, he shows her fucking Ollie eating the corpse, and
Hmm.
she just goes, "Ugh," and then it just cuts to them just fucking trucking into
Yeah.
the.
It's like, fuck that. Let's go.
Oh my, and then they just get smashed against the car,
Damn,
and
dude.
I thought that he moved out of the way, but he did not.
No, no.
He
And
did
I
not.
love this. Okay, so there are two instances in this movie or I guess three, I called one earlier, but there was this instance where they're sort of foreshadowing how they framed his death. Sally is or Laura's in the tub and she's halfway submerged, and then she does this thing where like she just like falls in, and then it like goes into the next scene. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool, because again, does that. And
Hmm.
then the scene where Ollie bites her and she runs into the bathroom, when he's pounding on the door, the camera pans back, or they show it from above, and she's laying in the same position as she is in the end.
Mm,
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, I
I
thought
didn't.
again, bro, this shit fucking slaps the second time. I'm telling you, watch this movie again.
So the her drowning him. I
Hmm.
wanted to make sure we talked about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what so that's the death I mean, and that I mean they're foreshadowed.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But it's just so fucking like
So unceremonious.
you don't
It's just
expect it because the movie tells you over and over that Piper's useless and she needs Andy, and she without Andy she's doomed, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, not what it's that's a little harsh, but yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
she
but
can't
I you
even.
have made your case. Yeah,
Yeah, it really the movie infantilizes her.
yeah.
Um, Despite, her being like, I don't like to use my cane, but
Hmm.
then the movie's basically like, cause she's an idiot. She needs it, you know? Um, and ironically enough, like, yeah, that's actually why Kathy died, is because, obviously you don't like use your cane to get into the pool, but
Hmm.
and
Yeah, you
she
feel it
told her
around
Kathy
them.
didn't like to use hers either. And so
That's right. She does
she
in the beginning. Holy
she
shit.
just wanted to like do whatever and try to have, quote, a normal life. And because of that,
Yeah.
she threw caution to the wind and tried to, and bad things happened.
Yeah.
And that's what Andy's trying to avoid for Piper. Um, but yeah, the drowning was just so tragic, and I was like, well, she's fucking doomed. So at that point I start thinking, either Laura's going to win, which I really don't want, or what I thought was going to happen was that she had taken so long. If she did drown Piper, she would have failed the ritual because she
Mm.
took so long. And I basically expected her to drown Piper, nothing to happen, and then
I see what you're saying. Ollie just kind of like,
Ollie as the demon being like, "Yeah, you fucked up, so now I'm killing you." And
which
that
would have been an also decent ending. I think that would have worked.
yeah, that she failed the ritual because
Hmm.
she thought she was above the rules, which is like so coded into her character in so many
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She thinks that she can just do whatever and it's going to be
Hmm.
fine because it's her.
Yeah.
Like who cares if I destroy an entire family? If mine gets to come back together, that's
Yeah.
more good in the world than bad.
Exactly.
because no one thinks they're the bad guy.
You're never the villain in your own story.
Yeah, so she for sure thought that this was okay.
Hmm.
And then as it was going, and Piper, as she's being drowned, comes up and screams "Mom," and it
Yeah.
shakes her. I think
Because she had asked her in the shed earlier. She says, you can call me mom if you'd like. And she was like, "Oh, no, that's okay."
yeah,
Like,
I won't be doing that.
yeah,
Would
yeah. I
Oh,
don't
do you think you'll be staying when your brother goes? I was looking forward to getting our own place. We'll visit you on weekends though.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you no, you
yeah.
won't.
Literally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let me visit this bitch I don't fucking know, you know? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
Um,
yeah, I like that they had brought up that there was precedence for that moment to
but
sting as much because also when she was doing her monologue earlier when they were after the drunk party and they're sitting back to back, her and Andy, she has her monologue about how she would give anything to hear her call her mom again one more time,
mhm.
and that's exactly what gets her. So I was like, the setup and execution perfect, absolutely perfect.
I think it making her pause makes sense.
Hmm.
I think it making her stop does not, but I'll get to that in a second. But
Hmm.
her pausing,
Hmm.
for a moment, I interpreted it as perhaps, like, obviously it's Piper.
Hmm.
Obviously it's not Kathy. But I figured that Piper was gonna go, "Mom, it's me, Kathy. Wow, the ritual worked. Thanks so
I feel
much."
it. Yeah.
And then again, the ritual would fail, the demon would eat her, and
Mhm.
Piper would at least get to survive.
Yeah.
But instead, we get literally the guy who was trying to kill Joe Swanson when he poked himself with the knife. The ending to this fucking movie is literally this woman who has irreparably ruined three children,
Yeah.
killed a man, killed a woman. She literally goes, "Oh, is that what I've been doing to people?
Yeah.
I'm a monster." And that's
Mhm.
just it, I was like, "Wow, garbage."
Nah, I don't know.
It was not
I
justified.
think it worked for me because again, it kind of just like she's been in the haze of I got to do this, I got to be like I'm so focused on this mission, I'm doing this, and then it's just like you're faced with the reality of everything you've done. When she heard that, because she had been again,
It doesn't make sense that it brought her to reality. I feel like if anything, it would deepen her delusion.
I
Like
didn't think
like
it brought her back to reality. I think it made her have to actually face what she'd actually been doing, not like not because
I
she was trying to keep these things at bay by cleaning up the house really fast, by keeping all these things secret. She was trying to deny everything that was going on, but it made her face that reality when she was just like, "Oh fuck."
I
Like,
I just don't see how her calling her mom makes her change her mind.
yeah.
But I will say when she was asking her to call her mom, I did interpret that as her being like, "And if you do and you stay with me, then I can call this whole demon thing off."
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, that's exactly what that was.
That
That's
was
literally
that
was
was like
what that was.
if you'll stay with me instead, then I don't
Mhm.
have to do this.
Because she
I don't have to kill you.
literally because Brad in that moment she looks over to Ollie and then she says, "Not yet, dear."
And he's just like,
Yeah, exactly.
like
I love that.
and
Yeah.
I like everything he was doing, but it is kind of
Yeah.
funny, like detached. Like in the movie, it's like really tense, but detached is pretty funny to. He's just doing
Yeah.
like Tasmanian tiger shit. But I
Yeah.
just felt like I just feel like the whole ending was really mishandled. And if you wanted, I feel like her saying mom, making her think that it was Kathy would have made sense, but making her go like, "Oh man, I wish I didn't just kill your brother and one of my really good friends." Like
No, I think
up,
that
like
that's
she
what
was
it.
fine doing everything
But
else.
that's what I'm saying. I think it shows that Piper is actually smarter than she let on because she knew that that was a way to disarm her. Like she
Well,
knew that that was what was going to get her to be like, at least give her a second to be able to slip away, which is what she did. Because
yeah.
even if it didn't make her sit and be like, oh fuck, like I'm doing this, it made her pause and be like, wait, what am I actually doing? And then in that moment of confusion, Piper was just like, all right, fuck, I'm out.
Yeah,
Slips out.
and then she still reaches for her. So it's like she
Hmm.
still
Yeah, she
was,
was still gonna go through with it. Like she was
but but
still.
but then she gets away, and then she's just like, oh, fiddlesticks. So it's just, I don't know. Just to have this
Well,
much
because she
commitment and
knows
do
that.
all of this and then just give up at the last minute. It's literally, it is Batman versus Superman, Martha. That's exactly what this is. Oh shit, you got a mom too? Like, that's exactly what it fucking is.
So stupid.
That's exactly what it is. It's like,
I don't
oh
think it
shit,
was.
a little blind girl's a
I,
human?
so dumb. I think it worked for me. I didn't think that it didn't take me out of it because again, it was logical for because what we're witnessing Laura do this such heinous shit. You're like, you know, she knows at some point this isn't going to pan out how you think it's going to pan out. There is this sense of like of urgency and I guess of this like she's like I need this to work. I need this to work. But in the back of her mind, I think throughout the whole movie she's kind of like yeah, I'm kind of just cobbling together a plan here as I go. It really is just fucking,
I,
freestyling here.
I think I think the two scenarios I outlined would have been more solid landings of the themes and the ideas of this movie of like this grief will ultimately destroy you.
Hmm.
You can try and wrap other people up in your grief. You can try and use other people as replacements for your loved
Yeah,
one, but ultimately
it's gonna
your
kill
grief
you.
will
Yeah.
destroy you.
Hmm.
But that's not really what happened. It was, oh, actually she's not that bad.
Well, I don't know.
And
I think it did arguably
that's
destroy her though.
but it I mean sure, but the reaction people are having online is literally, I feel so bad for her, she's not that bad. That's
Oh yeah, yeah,
which is insane
yeah, yeah.
to take that away,
But I
you
think
know?
that's the thing. All fucking art is subjective. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna kind of
Yeah.
take your own thing, but like
S-
I just don't think I don't think it took away enough. I don't think it detracted enough from me. I think that because also you had the follow up with the demon basically being like, "All right, I guess I'm out." Like
but
fucking.
but I think part of what happened there too, and I think that this should have factored into the ending.
Hmm.
So all the mimicry and everything, and remember when they come back, when she comes back into the house after picking her up, um she hears Andy's voice, and then
Hmm.
she goes in the room, and Oliver's there, and then she finds Andy's body, and so Andy's body, his throat is torn,
Yeah.
which means he was eating him. So
Hmm.
that's why he had his voice, because it was Andy's soul trying to warn her.
Yeah.
So I think if Andy had come out in Oliver in the ending, that could have been an interesting way to tie it together. But also, I do think there is an aspect of this, she just completely botched the ritual in all ways. She
Hmm.
took too long, she was too precious about her daughter's body, she was too precious about like finding another
Yeah.
visually
Yeah.
impaired girl, like trying to make it exactly the same as her daughter.
Hmm.
And also, instead of having one very specific person's entire soul inside of him, he had like four
Multiple
or
now.
five different people's pieces of their souls
Yeah.
commingling. So
Yeah. You're totally right.
if he had like become not what she wanted, like I think it should have blown up in her face instead of
Mhm.
her just kind of giving up when she won.
Well, because I don't know, like again, there's kind of this through line of not so much hesitancy, but like there's like the real thing shines through underneath. Like when Oliver fucking after the knife incident and everything, and he's sitting there in the room, and he's like, "Who are you? Where am I? Like, what the fuck is going on?" Like, there's that happens
And
through, and it's like she's like, oh shit, like I have to stab this, but there's also the like you're saying, the warning of trying to warn Andy that Piper would die in the rain, and then warning Piper to get the fuck out of there at the end. I think there was like little bits of things like shining through underneath the surface where it's like almost moments of clarity that were happening.
I think what the dad actually said is, you will die in the rain. That's
I
how
think he
I.
says she will die in the rain because he starts screaming at the hospital. He says, "You can't let her out. You can't let her out. Don't let her go out in the rain. Something could happen."
Yeah, but the prophecy only comes true if it's him, if it's you, you know? So I mean,
Yeah, but that's why he's so like he's like ripping out his restraints and shit at the hospital. He's screaming, "She's out there. She's like she's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
die." Yeah.
I do remember that, but I think it just put it in his head and he's more worried about her than himself. But I mean, I don't know. I only saw it once, but I did think that was it. Was he said you will die in the rain,
Yeah, there's
and
quick.
then
I'm
and
telling you,
then
there's
he
little
did
bits. No, go ahead.
he did die in the rain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was drowned
Literally,
in the
yeah,
rain.
yeah, yeah. He
The
did.
thing he was afraid of for his sister, so he
Hmm.
misinterpreted the warning as being about
That
her,
could
but
be it too. You're right. I like that actually. That's a really good read on that as well.
yeah, he was so worried about her that then it happened to him.
Hmm.
But yeah, I there's just a lot of things that are very unclear, and it's so crazy how many people are just like, no, it's okay. Movies shouldn't explain anything. And I'm like, no, there's like multiple levels to this where she had to be like an absolute mastermind, which is not the character that we actually see at any point. You know, like the stalking of their family, the
Hmm.
kidnapping of Connor, you know,
Yeah, but
having a whole ring around her house, like that's crazy for one person to do. That's a huge project.
if you got time, I don't
You got time to lean.
know. Exactly. So stupid.
But I mean, all that aside, I don't think that it's like a terrible movie. I
Hmm.
just think that there's like quite a few places where it could have been tidied up. But that does make me kind of like we said at the beginning. Ultimately, I'm like, fuck, if this had just been about this crazy foster mother trying to replace her daughter
Hmm.
and we take out the demon boy, a lot of my problems go away.
Yeah, but you need he's the conduit. Like you need him there. That's the whole thing of the ritual. That's
No,
I mean,
I get that, but it just played very unsatisfactorily for me in a lot of ways. And then at the end, those two just, go back to civilization. Piper, I guess she just lives with those two women that picked her up on the side of the road now. Like it's weird. They take her from an active crime scene and they just dip.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I mean, because she's fucking screaming and I'm covered in blood and shit.
yeah, but like why are they still together after that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I don't know. I think the movie wrapped up in a very like logical way for what the characters were kind of pointing out. Like I said, I didn't mind where it ended up because it is showing you that grief is going to ultimately destroy you, and it doesn't it's gonna it's not things aren't going to work out the way you intend them to when you approach them from this angle. At least I felt like you're saying, like the ends don't justify the means with her character at any point, and that's why it prevents us from having sympathy for the character going forward in any sort of meaningful way. Because I don't know. I think the broken mother angle of this worked so much better as a like vessel for this story for me than it did in Talk to Me, because Talk to Me is through another character's type of perspective. Grief is also a very prominent um, topic in that movie. That's the center point of the discussion as well. It's just used in a different angle. It's a different perspective. You know what I mean? A different relationship. But I really, like I said, beyond the perspective of what we were shown, I really do appreciate the things that we weren't shown. I like the fact that we learn more about the abusive tendencies of his father, and the fact that it was the showers that were the most scarring thing for him, even before he saw his father dying in the ground. You know what I mean, or dead on the ground. Like the fact that the showers was a continuous thing, and then you learn that later on at the end that he used to hit him when the shower was turned up. It's like
yeah.
that's such a powerful thing because it
That
makes all of the retrospect and everything in retrospect that he had
that
done
that,
so much more interesting.
that's what conflicts me is like there's so many elements of masterful writing at play here, but then there's also so many elements of just where I'm just like there's just multiple things that like I don't think we need 30 minutes on where the tapes came from,
Hmm.
but we need some fucking level of explanation. And if they're going to do it in a
That's
future movie, that's something. I
yeah.
just it's just there needs to be logic. There needs to be an explanation for where the story comes from. If someone's just going to
Mhm.
fucking do magic, tell me he's a wizard. That's fine. But tell me he's a fucking wizard. Like literally someone was like she had a tattoo on her finger. That means she was part of the cult her whole life. And I'm just like there's a fucking line of dialogue
Oh
that
yeah, there.
very heavily implies
I
that
I
she
forgot about the
found
yeah.
this,
It's
that
interesting
she
because she
discovered
has
this.
the triangular circle or triangular tattoo on her hand, right?
Yeah, she has a triangle tattoo on her hand,
Yeah, the pool's
and
triangle shaped.
yeah, and someone was like, yeah, that means she's been in the cult her whole life, and I was just like,
Oh, I
no,
don't know
dude,
about that one. I didn't get that. I didn't. No, I didn't.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't read that off of that. I just thought that
yeah.
was an interesting like. There's cool parallels and there's cool things to like. But that's what I mean. I like that there it leaves room for
There's
discussion.
there's definitely more than is said, but I just think like that and how exactly she did all of this to them. Which,
Hmm.
if they had explained the ties to the cult,
Hmm.
perhaps that could have just answered the question. But it seemed like those are questions they didn't know how to answer, so they just simply didn't. Because when she tells him in the
Mm.
hospital, "What's bothering you? The fact that your dad died and I killed him." She
That's
didn't.
what she says. Thank you. That's
She
literally the line I was looking for the whole time.
she didn't say it like she meant it. She said
Hmm.
it knowing that she was going to be able to get away with it because he was all fucked up at the time. So
Yeah,
she
yeah,
just flat out told him to his face,
yeah.
"What? Are you mad because I killed your dad?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh no, what are you talking about?" But that's literally her admitting it to his face
Yeah.
because she knew way too much for her to have just like figured that out.
Hmm.
But also it goes back to like another, really goofy part of the writing. Like, what did they like send him to juvie when he was 8 years old? Did his father call the police and get him like a fucking criminal record at 8 years old? How
I
did they know
mean,
he punched her?
yeah,
To the
that's fair.
point that they're like, "You're a troubled youth.
But
Are
see,
you
that's what I'm
gonna be
saying.
good, or do you need to go to a fucking
I just
like?"
think the nitpicking, right, like that, none of the little like details like that were enough for me to detract from the movie for me. I think the overall, like what I was seeing and what I was
Not
being
not
given.
not even a tiny bit.
No, honestly, dude, I'm
That's
telling you, like
crazy to me.
I'm because that's what I'm saying. I was taking it. I'm not looking for anything deeper than that. I like the world that we were given. I like the peaks that we were given into the other worlds, and it's just like cool. That's mysterious. I'd love to know more about that. I like that I don't because it makes me curious about it. It makes me want to discuss it.
I think we should have known less about the cult. They should have shown less of the tapes, but they should have said when she said I found this thing, she should have said I found this thing on the internet. That would have been enough. That would have been enough to go, well, now there's a logical connection of how all this even fucking began. You know,
Sure.
like
I
like
mean,
I, I
yeah.
don't I
I
don't
don't know.
need I don't need 20 minutes on it, but there are some things that do need a small amount of explanation, and how she was able to do that and where the tapes came from needed at least just a little, at least something to infer based upon.
Hmm.
But there's just like absolutely no hints in any direction. So if like this cult is never brought up in one of their movies again,
Hmm.
I think that's like a huge misstep. I hope that in the next movie, there's some amount of, there's the hand out there, there's these tapes out there that people are using to revive their loved ones.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's this third thing that's happening and some sort of, at
Yeah.
some point, it all needs to be tied
Threaded.
together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fact that there's a shared universe means nothing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that's what excites me is that the possibility of something like that being we're seeing the seeds of that currently in real time.
Yeah.
I like
I
that. That's what I think excites me the most about it. That's why I don't mind the mystery of it all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with some mystery, but like I said, I just there's a point where a mystery becomes a plot hole, and I think that not even explaining like in The Ring, they explain where the fucking tape came from.
Hmm.
And if they never explained where the tape came from, that movie would not be the same movie. It would be a big mess.
Well, see, that's the thing though, because I think movies drawing on shit like that, like this one drawing from, they even talked about like what was What's Wrong with Baby Jane? I think it was the name of the movie. Being a source of influence for this, and that makes total sense if you've seen that movie. But it's a character study on like on mental illness and shit. You know what I mean? It's a character study on something like that. And I think movies kind of being drawing inspiration from these older stuff like that, and like Rosemary's Baby also being a big point for Hereditary, and like how that drew from that. And so like these big points, I think the films work a lot now, because before everything was kind of answered for you, everything was given, the context of like fully. Now I kind of don't think we're totally in need of that, you know what I mean? I think.
I just it just falls apart on a certain level without like without some level, and I don't it doesn't need to hold your hand, it doesn't need to go crazy,
Yeah, sure.
but just literally some amount of how did we get here? When I thought the movie was, oh, we're fucking hanging people and filming it in my shed, it was like, oh, okay, that's like I totally get what's going on here.
Hmm.
But by the time we get to the end where she's killed multiple or killed and mutilated multiple children, and she's killed a close friend of hers, and she's done all these things, and then she just goes, eh. And it's just like,
Yeah, I
it
don't think that's what I'm saying. It doesn't read
I,
to me that she gives up. I really do think that she's just like sort of stunted and just
I
been like,
mean,
ah, fuck, like,
she literally goes and gets the body and lays down with it to wait for the police to get her. She gives up, dude.
mhm.
She straight up gave up.
Yeah, but
She grabs onto the coat, and then she lets her go, and
yeah,
then she just sits there while this girl who cannot see is struggling to get out of a body of water.
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
she still wholeheartedly wanted to do it, she would have just got up and fucking did it. But she just went, "Oh fuck, is that what I do to people?
That's
I am a
stupid. That's
monster. I am a monster." But
so
you
dumb.
but you know what? It did make me think it would be interesting to see like the trial. Like I was just thinking about like what that would really be like of them being like, yeah, so here's all the shit this woman did.
I don't even know if I need that much. I mean, maybe even a line of dialogue in a follow up movie or something like that. Like, oh yeah, there was this woman like Laura who's spending her rest of her life in prison now or some shit. You know what I mean? Like that. That'd be fine.
And that's pretty much what I expect
Hmm.
in like a future movie is something like
Hmm.
that. But then ultimately that just kind of brings me back to what's the point of it all being linked then? Like what's, if that's like the most we're expecting, then it's like there's this like web of how television shows are interconnected
Yeah.
that literally it like connects The Wire through multiple TV shows, mostly police shows, mostly through this one guy who shows up in a lot of different police shows as a guest star as the same character.
Mm.
He's also shown up in the X-Files as that character. So the X-Files and The
And
Wire
canonically.
are happening in the same universe. But it doesn't fucking matter because McNulty never gets abducted. So like even if like
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to
it's
think
not a
about.
true it is, but it's not like a true connection. It's just this,
Yeah.
so it's just like yeah, ultimately it's not a real connection and it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
it's like I would
Neither
I
does life, dog. It doesn't have to mean anything. I'll
that
posit that much.
yeah, we're humans and we create art and therefore
Yeah,
we
we
give
have
it
to
meaning,
create meaning. Exactly.
I don't know. I feel like and if there were more explanation, I would be less bothered by the ending. And if
Mhm.
the ending were better, I would be less bothered by the lack of explanation. But it makes me feel like on both ends of it is where my issues are. And then I'm left with the middle, which I really like. But
Mhm.
I'm like, this.
I feel you. I
It's
understand. No, yeah. I get what you're saying. I just don't think like for me it had the same, weight on the ending for me, or like with the lack of questions being answered. The lack of answers that we did receive. I don't think that it had that same impact for me personally.
yeah.
But I will say, if we're nearing the end here, I do have one closing last little note about the ending. If you
Hmm.
saw the ending dedication,
Yeah, I did see that.
so that did you read the article that I sent you?
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. I like the way that they did this because that made me like this movie a lot more. I will say that having this context to it and knowing and even seeing, I think it was Danny who posted on Instagram like a couple of days ago. It was very sweet, very sincere. He posted, he said that I was going through grief while I was making this movie because it happened right as pre-production happened. It was a family friend of theirs named Harley Wallace, who passed away just as pre-production started on this film. And even though Talk to Me and Bring Her Back were in production at the same time, this one, obviously happened. This is when the family friend passed away, and they were on set sort of dealing with all of that going into this, so that kind of informed the performances going forward, and they even talk about it influenced the entire attitude of the movie. And so there is this hint of like darkness and moodiness about the entire film because it's real, like it's real grief. They put real grief into their art, and this is what happened, this is what came of that. And I think that really makes it beautiful. I think with the because again there's a lot of beautiful moments in there about like dealing with that, like or that, or not dealing with that, but it's sort of coming to terms with that notion of you have to at some point move on. There is that closure that needs to happen at some point because you even have Piper like with complaining that she doesn't have any of her dad's clothes to take with her because they're all been washed.
Hmm.
And so he says, "Oh, there's a pillow." And so you see her clinging onto that pillow like for dear life because I mean, eventually you know that it's not going to smell like him anymore. Like that's going to happen. And so she's just kind of like trying to hang on to that little bit the entire movie, and it's like there's something very very human about that, like I said shines throughout this whole movie. And the supernatural shit I really think just elevates it to a level of like the uncomfortableness that I felt at the funeral scene was almost as equal as the uncomfortableness I felt when he was chewing his fucking hand off.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
That was real bad.
That's what I mean. Like, so I love that. I love that this was actually something that they put their entire heart into.
Yeah, and I can't begrudge them for how they work through their grief, but them talking about like how it made them pull back on certain elements of the film does kind of make me feel like it did affect, like, I feel like they didn't want the ending to be too mean, and I and
Because you
I
just put the audience through the fucking ringer. Yeah.
and I just feel like that's a misstep. I've
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, yeah, I just don't think the movie followed through on its themes in the end.
Well, I mean, then get to your rating then. What was it? Horns up, horns down. That's how we rate them on the quickies.
Despite everything I've said, I don't like hate it. I think it's a case of lost potential.
Mm,
I would give it a much more nuanced rating if we were doing like a regular episode.
mm.
But I liked it a lot more than Long Legs and a lot more than Cuckoo. So I
Saying
I
a lot.
I think I would still give it a horns up. It's worth watching, but if you turn around at the end of it and go, "Man, she's tragic," check yourself into a fucking mental hospital.
It's fair.
Like, for real.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this isn't a good for her by any means.
No. This is bad for everyone.
Bad for everyone else, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm definitely gonna echo that, but I mean, with the much more enthusiastic horns up. I really do think this is a strong follow up to their first movie, and I again, the first movie is one of my favorites in a long fucking time that I've seen, because there's a lot that went into that movie as well in terms of like music and shit too. So there's that in that. That there's, I will say the tone of Talk to Me is still dark, but there's still a lot of fun moments in it, because the boys, they know how to film a good party scene. Which, with them getting drunk in this movie, that was a really fun party scene. It's a really well done little like segment, and it's, and I don't know, it was the cameras and the way it was shot was following them. Is all like very like frantic and, you know, dancey and lively and shit. Music is happening very loud and shit. It's very fun. I think there was a lot of moments in like Talk to Me that kind of just, you know, that maybe informed this movie, but they did something where they were like, all right, let's tighten our grip on like the actual like uncomfortable factor of this movie. Like, let's do that, and let's fucking like really hone in on that shit for this one. So I think it was a really good follow up to it. I really do think it's worth everyone's time to go watch both of them. If you can, please go watch both of them back to back. Very fucking fun double feature. And I'm very curious to hear your thoughts now when we do finally do Talk to Me, because you will get to be more nuanced that one on that one.
It'll be funny if I don't like it. They're going to hell.
They're going to hell. Oh man.
It seems
Well,
like they already live there.
they already definitely live there. Well, I think we gotta get out of here, because this is very much not going to be a quickie in a
This is our full episode on Bring Her
bit.
Back.
Exactly.
This is going in the main feed.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, you guys can find us on Facebook at the Devil's Work Podcast. You can find us at Instagram at the Devil's Work Pod, and TikTok, Devil's Work Podcast. I think I got that one right. And we have a email set up for you to email us, the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com.
And you can talk to us, so we will talk to
So stupid.
I did it right.
So dumb. And you can check me out on twitch.tv/PsydeShow, PSY, spell it right. I do, now I'm actually doing drum streams. Been doing a lot of Clone Hero, playing fucking, oh my God. I'm probably dropping weight, like actively, dog. This is
Good.
crazy. It's fucking hot as balls. I've been still doing these streams. I'll do like 2-3 hour streams too. It's fucking crazy, man.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, I've been going at it, man. And then I just play
Oh,
in my off time regularly.
I'll have to send you a picture of it, but you're gonna have to get some ball deodorizer from Manscaped. That's
From
right.
Manscaped.
We're sponsored by Manscaped now.
I keep saying it.
It's
So
gonna have to come
stupid.
true eventually.
That's called manifestation, baby.
Let me tell you, that thing garbled my ball
Oh my
sack.
God.
They say it can't cut you.
Fucking
I got
disgusting.
scars that say otherwise.
Oh my God. All right. Well, check it out. We just dropped our episode on the game. Go listen to that. That was a fun ass episode. Next week, you guys have Zombie coming out. That one's going to be a fucking fun one. All right. I'm out of here.
I don't like cranberry sauce, but I do love the cranberries.